Good day, folks. Tav and Allen here, host of Comedy Above the Pub. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 23, Special Treat. This is a little late coming out of the gate, but because we recorded as soon as this guy got into town, it's such a treat to have this man on the show, Andy Kindler. And now does work with the Letterman show. You would know him from Last Comic Stand. He's one of the best comic minds out there right now. Just a treat to have him here, and it's so special. And he's here in Toronto right now as this drops Friday, January 20th. There are 2 shows at Comedy Bar here in Toronto, 2 shows Saturday, and 1 show Sunday. He is actually going to be hosting the Sketcherton show Sunday Night Live. So make sure you come down to Comedy Bar this weekend, the 20th through the 22nd, to come down and see Andy Kindler, one of the best comic voices. He's very well known in the industry for doing his State of the Industry address that he does at Just for Laughs every year. I got to see it this past summer. It's great, and it's beautiful to have him on the show, and he is so damn funny. Guess what else was really good? I got to thank you people for coming out at the time of this records. We recorded our first live Comedy Above the Pub with Deb G. Giovanni and Niall Sagan, and it was great. The people came out. It was fantastic. We're going to be dropping that episode soon. We've got a couple in the hopper, and then we're going to drop that. We'll probably close the season with that live show. It was so great to have you here. And guess what? We're going to do this regularly now. We've got a spot at Comedy Bar in the same cabaret space we did before. It's going to be the last Sunday of the month, so we'll do the same recordings. We'll have different guests every time. It's going to be a great time. So thank you again for all your support. I can't thank you enough, folks. You're the reason we're doing this. And to reward you with that, here's Andy Kindler. Just to let you know some of my dates, Sunday, January 22nd, I'm going to be doing storytelling again at Kaplansky's. It's not necessarily a comedy show. It's like you go up and you just tell kind of quirky stories. Some of them get really serious. Probably mine won't. I'll probably talk about, I don't know, sperm samples, because I talked about Jimmy last time, the cat. Wednesday, January 25th, I will be at Spirits, one of the best nights in Toronto, run by Joanna Downey. You never know who's going to show up. Robin Williams has done that show, Lewis Black, and now they get me, not the same caliber. Friday, January 27th, I'll be at the Empire Theater in Belleville. Make sure you come down and see us there. And Saturday, January 28th, I'll be doing stand-up at Comedy Bar. I'm so looking forward to that. It's part of a special show. Chris Brazeau is putting it together, and it's always great to do stand-up at Comedy Bar. I'm looking forward to it. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, here he is in Toronto for you and on the podcast now. Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Kindler. By the way, you may hear words like this. Hey, lady! This is comedy.
Comedy Above the Pub.
Hi, I'm John Catucci.
Massimo Capra.
Brian Lasnik.
Hi, this is Nug.
Christian Patanza.
This is Shelley Marshall.
Henry Rollins.
David Miller.
Hey, this is Steve Hofstetter. You are listening to Comedy Above the Pub.
Woohoo. It stinks. What is that from The Critic? Remember that show?
Yes, no, that's exactly it. John Lovitz.
It wasn't a very good show, but that was their
It
line.
stinks.
It stinks.
That was a show I really wanted it to work.
Yeah.
It was one of the ones
It had
that
all
on
the
paper, it had all the elements.
elements.
I totally wanted it to sort of go well. And
Yeah.
it just, I don't know what it was. What was it about that show that just didn't make it work?
Bad.
The world wasn't
Outside
ready.
of that.
Well, you got Lovitz. Lovitz is the head. Now you look completely familiar. It's so weird to me. I must have seen you more at the festival than just that ride, right?
Yeah.
You'd know.
I was the guy walking around the whole time with sunglasses and a leather jacket because,
Doing your
I was clear-
dice impression?
yeah, I was clearly very comfortable with myself in that time.
Yeah. The edgy drifter that is Ian Atlas. Are you going to punch him?
No, but he told me if I make complaint, he'll kick my ass. So I'm trying to get more of like a man's man.
Really?
Yeah.
We've been talking a lot about trying to be a man's man.
Yeah. I'm a martial artist too, and I'm still scared of it.
Is that true?
Yeah, I'm a black belt.
Reinventing himself.
A black belt.
A black belt.
Only took me 12 years.
Can you do that on installments?
You laugh, and it's really true.
Is that true?
He's kidding, right? No.
How long is it supposed to take? 12 years sounds
12 years sounds about right. You go into dojos.
I'm very excited when I finally became a black belt. I don't know what my voice is now. Hello.
That's kind of
It's
nice.
taekwondo. I love
The
it.
one thing I
Yeah.
don't hear is how excited you were.
Yeah,
that you
65
became a
degrees.
Black
65 degrees downtown Toronto coming up now.
Hardly
The
65.
quiet storm. The quiet storm. Hey, this one's Riders on the Storm.
Did you do CBC this morning? Is that why you're talking like that?
No, I did the sports show.
Yeah, TSN.
okay.
You know, the very low key.
Yes, the
morning
very
show
low
on
key.
TSN.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what we were saying. Like, before I picked Andy up, I turned on the station, and he was like, the host was just going through all of these. The host was going through these character impressions of like sports commentators and other guys.
Wait, are we on now?
I was going to
Oh,
say.
sure, yeah.
Maybe,
We'll consider that a cold open. We'll drift in.
Well, you
That's
don't wanna
usually how
be-
these things go. Let's go around the table. First of all, we have...
talk about the. All right, you do it, man.
There's no way that guy.
Todd has a solo intro.
Anyway,
off
it
the
was
top.
great. He was great.
Yes.
I
Don't worry.
had some concerns, but it turned out great.
Yes. There's a pre-ramble that we put in the front of
Cold
this. That's what we're able to do.
open. Oh, I
Cold
see.
Open.
In other words, the idea of the show is that we're just joining us mid-discussion.
Exactly.
Folks, thanks for dropping in.
Oh,
we didn't know you were here.
what are you doing?
With the microphones?
Oh, well, hi. Come on in.
I
Sit a
just
spell.
normally work in front of a windscreen.
Pull up a chair by the fire.
Yes.
Yes.
Suddenly has become Friendly Giant.
Yeah.
What's the name of the show?
Comedy Above the Pub.
Ooh,
Nice.
where's the pub?
It's a long story.
Oh,
No, it isn't. You used to have a show above a pub. The
Yes.
pub went away. Now the show is here.
that is not a long story.
Well,
was it
it's
a
not
nice
the way-
pub?
See, he just takes the blush out of everything. It was okay.
Did they have pub food?
They certainly did.
Yeah.
They had fish and chips.
And did they have bangers?
I
don't know what
only
bangers
on special
are.
days.
No,
They're
bangers, but I'd
sausages.
like to turn this into a
Yeah.
sexual joke.
Nice.
Bangers? What's that all about? I don't even do jokes anymore, Gary. I just say, what's that all about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gary Rideout is here with me.
that's true.
How you doing?
Owner of
studio.
Comedy Bar and hosting Andy Kindler this weekend
What
here
a mistake.
in Toronto.
What a mistake. Yeah, he's taking
Already
it.
you're down.
You know the expression taking a bath? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what he's doing.
That's how I start my day.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
Go
That's how
in.
that's how I start every day.
run
That-
the tub.
Then
you
it's
know?
all, he's all over me too every second. Like, hey, I thought I had the impression there'd be people when I booked you. I thought, I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
Right.
But I like a show. I like to book someone who people come to see. I mean,
Right.
maybe I'm the bad guy. This is my new I'm the bad guy.
I thought given the opportunity
Right.
to promote yourself in the newspaper, you would talk more about how people do like to watch you do comedy.
No, I went the other way, Gary. I went
Right.
the other way. I've been
Right.
doing this for 27 years, and
Right.
I always say to myself, I know after 27 years that I'll be able to get 300 people
Yeah.
over a 4-day. How many people we need to get? 300
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
a 4-day period in
Right.
in a city of 8. How many people live in?
A couple thousand, sure.
You know what I should do? I should get my comedy facts together before I do them. Well, what is
It's
it? Is
more
it
fun to make it
60
up.
million people live
no,
in
3
Toronto?
million. 3 million.
How much live in the whole country? I'm going to tell you right now. Don't tell me.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
10 million live in the whole country. 50 million. 43 million people live in the entire nation.
You're-
68 million people. Don't tell me.
Okay, I'll not-
12 million. Up. 22 million people. Don't tell me. Just give me the numbers. Don't tell me, though.
There's an 8 and a 2.
82 million people. 28 million
There you
people.
go. Hey, look
In
at
the
that.
entire country.
Yeah.
So what the hell are we talking about? What are you all complaining about? We could stick everybody here. You guys keep complaining. We'll stick you in Missouri.
Have you been to Saskatchewan? That's pretty much
Yes,
that.
I have.
Okay.
See, you can't. I've been to Saskatoon. I've been to the birthplace of my good friend Brent Butt.
Yes.
I think he's from Saskatoon.
Yep.
He knows from Eldina, Mishmina,
Yeah.
Maglina. Every city outside of a town is named Medina, Moose Jaw.
Yep.
In the 80s, all I needed when I would come up here, I'd say, what are you people from Swift Current? What are you people from not so Swift Current? What are you, Moose Jaw? What's next? Elephant neck? See, I wasn't funny in the 80s. I want to spend the whole podcast complaining about this oil shale
You want to?
drilling.
Yeah,
what is
let's
it
do
called?
that.
Oil sands?
Tar sands.
Yeah, I'm going to
That's what
pretend that I'm very upset about the
okay.
the Keystone pipeline.
What's
not going
what's
through.
grinding your gears about the tar sands?
Nothing. But I thought for an hour I go, oh, let me get this straight. Mm-hmm. You dig up a beach and you get a gallon of oil.
Uh-huh.
It's dirty. It's dirty oil or it's good oil. It's clean. We have found a way to make it clean.
Right. Okay. You know the beginning of There Will Be Blood, where he's like sifting the oil out
Is
of
that
the
a
sand.
good movie? Everyone uses that movie as a reference. It must be a good movie. Is it a good movie?
Well, Paul F. Tompkins is in it for 30 seconds.
He is?
Yeah, for like you see the back of his head.
But how is it? I love Paul F. Tompkins.
He's great.
He's hilarious.
He's fantastic.
But how is it? It's not as good as like Boogie Nights or Magnolia, right?
it's one of these things.
Those are the 3 movies you measure by.
Right.
No, it's 2 movies you measure by, and right now we're on a scale trying to figure out.
Right.
Where
Well, Boogie
there will
Nights
be
is a
blood.
fantastic movie.
It's a great
Yeah,
movie.
it
Yeah.
is. The thing I love about
Magnolia
that.
was pretty good.
Dancing, but,
Yeah, Magnolia, I think I got to go back and rewatch because it seemed to
It's
be very
weird.
disparate.
The one that
right?
you don't want to go back and rewatch that everyone says is a genius movie because for 4 seconds Adam Sandler isn't twirling around like a dervish.
Punch Drunk Love?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
You're exactly right. Like I was
It's-
sitting there going, that made that movie for me, but it's still not good.
Oh, the
It's
fact that he was acting
the
like a
fact,
different
the fact
guy?
that the fact that he finally, when that snap moment happened,
Yes.
it's like, okay, now I get it. Now it all sort of comes together, and that's good. Where there will be blood, I'm gonna put that at the top. Actually, like it's long, and you really have to be involved in it, and it really has to hit you. Or if it doesn't hit you in the first 20 minutes, it's not
Yeah.
going to.
It's
but
4
if it
hours- it's
does,
3 hours long, right?
it's a good haul.
Hey, you
It's
have a
good
great. Everybody tells you have a great voice. You should do
thank you very
everything.
much.
Let's hear what you say. Here, say you pay $7, get $12 back.
You pay $7, get $12 back.
See, I trust you. I trust you.
I want to know what store that is. If you pay $7,
Why
you
would
get
you
12
pay
back.
that? It sounds terrible to me.
Yeah.
Well, what is Rogers? I mean, I don't understand that.
That is basically our big AT&T.
But why
up
did they
here.
all of a sudden we bring you TV and we also make a nice microwave
They're-
oven? And how would you
they're
like a
doing
nice
everything.
car we make? And we try our bagels.
Well, it's a mom and pop shop.
Globalization.
It's a mom and pop shop that's making good.
Well, is there a guy named Bobby Rogers?
Ted Rogers.
Ted Rogers.
Ted Rogers. Is he dead now?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah,
He
he's
is,
dead.
yeah.
He's
And
dead.
is a philanthropic organization.
Certainly not.
Yeah, it's they own.
Well, they own the Blue Jays.
They own our
That's pretty
sports
charitable.
teams. Yeah, they own. They just bought the Leafs as well.
Right.
And yeah, and then they bought the stadium. The Skydome cost $685 million to build, and then Rogers bought it for $25 million.
Why? Was it some kind of a sale?
Well,
It must have been.
Who wants who wants that Toronto
Exactly.
dome? Who wants a dome? As soon as I hear dome, I go, I'm not going there. What is it for baseball?
Yeah.
Baseball should be out in the park.
Yes.
There should be a lovely hot dog. Who wants to go into a gymnasium? Why don't you just stick into a subterranean
Oh, but
thing?
you don't get it, Andy.
Yeah.
You can remove the roof. It's like you're in a
well,
park.
now that actually, no, if it
There.
works, is it beautiful?
It does,
the way they did
actually. It's a
okay,
very
so
nice.
It's very nice.
Actually, if you're in the right spot, you can see like the CN
That's
Tower
so good.
right there. It's
Gary
very
is
nice.
giving me a look. But the thing is, what do you
It was beautiful in the
you
90s
people
when
here,
it was built.
But you ruined the Expos. They were a fantastic
Why are
team.
you pointing at me?
You ruined them. Montreal.
Actually, Ian did have a hand in it. Let's
they
be
were
fair.
fantastic. And so
I enjoyed
you
them.
people, you destroyed baseball up here.
Do you
What's
wanna-
the matter with you?
do
I'm
you-
trying to cause controversy. How am I
Okay.
doing?
yeah, you're doing all right.
Oh, do you want to hear my little conspiracy theory on
Yeah.
that?
Oh,
okay.
God.
Is it real? It's not.
Yes,
like,
it is
okay.
real. It is real. Because if you remember, this happened the year after the Jays won 2 in a row. Okay,
Oh, they
right?
won 2 World Series?
They won 2 World Series. The strike happened the following year. And it was a year when the Jays were, again, top of their division, and Montreal was also top of the National League.
Oh.
And so my conspiracy theory hat, which is made of tinfoil,
Yeah.
says to me that the strike came to avert a all-Canadian World Series.
Oh, that is the worst conspiracy I've ever heard in my life.
it's the
There
worst.
are very, I mean, you take your buildings, building sevens, and I don't understand the whole. I don't understand the whole
Right.
9/11 conspiracy.
Well,
thing.
9/11 is obviously an inside
Building-
job. Let's continue, but I
building
want to get to the
seven.
bottom of baseball.
Wait a second, you don't really believe that, though, right?
Of course not.
I know,
Of
but
course
people
not.
believe that. I have
know.
some intelligent
Yeah,
friends.
I somewhat believe that.
You really think George W. Bush is? No, you don't believe it.
What?
He would the guy couldn't even conduct a news conference.
Oh, I thought we were still talking about baseball. Well, then yes,
Oh,
I believe.
right.
Yes,
George W. Bush with the Rangers.
right.
Yeah.
We'll see.
no.
I don't know. I don't know.
You think it could be? Well, send me some information. Send me
Yeah.
some brochures.
Send him your newsletter,
Yeah.
Gary.
Let me Google that for you.
Just
I think, and this is very controversial.
Mm-hmm.
I think JFK shot himself. That's what
Yeah?
I gotta write that.
Is there anything he couldn't do?
JFK?
JFK.
shot himself.
Yeah.
There's a famous story of the brilliant Bill Hicks. Mm-hmm. Well, he did a joke like this, but it's not the same joke. So Bill, he's passed away, but he was not having a good show in Dallas, and he said, "Let me ask you a question: was Kennedy killed here, or did he commit suicide?"
Well, I think Mark Forward tweeted the other day something like, "I believe in the no bullet theory. His head just exploded."
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm done. That's joke's
Right.
over. I'm crossing it out.
Scratch.
Crossing it out.
Now, here's the thing. I have heard you on many other podcasts, and you say, "Oh, I got to write that down." I didn't actually. I thought that was just like that was a plug. Like, no, you're writing it down.
I
That's
write
very
down, but then I don't. Like, for example, I wrote down something from a previous. I said,
What was
if you
the
come
joke from
see
there?
me perform, they said, "What can you expect?" I go, "Well, like during my show, we have free Wi-Fi." Is so that you
Nice.
can, if people don't like to watch the show,
Sure.
you can go online.
See what else is happening.
Yeah. We have air hockey.
Let's Google some conspiracy theories.
Yes.
Let's see what happens.
Oh, now we should look at Gary in a kind of like a sconce now with his crazy tinfoil conspiracies.
Because you know there are jars of urine in
You
his
brought
house.
up Building 7.
Yeah. You'll tell me about it later.
This is how far removed I am from that. I don't even know where Building 7 is.
It's
far
catty
off.
corner to Building 8.
Oh, is
Good
that right?
night, everybody. It was a building that supposedly. What's the Ian? Tell us the actual theory behind it.
Well, Tower 7 is one of the other buildings that collapsed at the World Trade Center, also housing all the files on the Enron debacle and everything else,
Right.
but didn't get hit by a plane, didn't
Right.
get hit by anything, and just magically kind of...
Well, there's tremors. There's going to be aftershocks.
Don't
and
please
certainly,
do not introduce any kind of logic, please. No logic or any other. If you come up with an actual explanation, people they don't want. They're like, oh yeah, sure.
allow me to submit. The government was just going, you know what? Let's clean a little house while we're doing
Right.
this.
Yeah, and
My parents'
that's all
home
I
is
think.
tidy.
That's
Yeah.
all I think. And there are clips of people reading newscasts going, Building 7 also collapsed, and then you see Building 7 still up behind them.
Yeah.
It hasn't fallen yet. And they're already reading it in the news. And then they say now that was stock footage that they just played behind them. And I'm like, why would you play stock footage behind someone?
Yes,
Right.
it's burning live.
Yeah.
But you don't believe that the terrorists were arraigned.
No, I'm just saying I think like
There was some other weird stuff
Yeah,
that
I
happened.
think there was
Why?
some other weird
My
stuff,
parents'
I think.
house in Queens was dynamited the next day.
Is that right?
No.
This just in the Kindler house.
Right.
They've made some powerful enemies over the years.
Yes.
Well, people say the Pentagon was never hit, and I know people said they saw. I mean, I saw when
No, there was
Washington
film.
people saw it.
There was film footage of it.
No,
what's the theory?
No, there's no
the
film
theory
footage
is
of
that
it.
the theory there were cameras removed. There were like 27 cameras removed from local area
Yeah.
gas stations, highway poles, like from everywhere. They won't release any of the footage to prove that a plane is what hit, and everyone says it was just a missile that hit, and it hit a part of the Pentagon that also had a bunch of information that was necessary to erase. That was like trillions of dollars of debt for the FBI and things like that.
Well, in a certain way, if I had trillions of dollars of that, maybe I would send a missile.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Is that
Well,
wrong? Is
no.
it wrong to dynamite a building when you have a problem?
Well,
Yeah,
what's a missile cost? Let's get to the
Right,
bottom of that.
exactly.
Right? You just tack that on. If you're already trillions in debt,
Yeah.
they're not going to miss another couple of mil. Right?
You know, I have a missile in my shorts. I think I got that from Letterman.
right. I just recently
Todd,
listened
did you get
actually.
that for the intro.
Yes, I'll plug
In my
it.
shorts. Missile. I have a Bissell missile. Bissell missile.
A Bissell missile?
Yiddish,
That's the
Yiddish,
Queen one.
Yiddish, Yiddish. It's a shaha.
Correction. We need that for the...
Yes. Okay, that will use.
Yakataka boing bang. Here's my impression of every Israeli type of music. You ready? They love that quarter note.
Right.
Get to the note and just stick on it.
Right.
I don't need to go. Pick a note.
Right.
No, yeah, I get it. You can slide to the note.
It's the wah wah pedal. That's all that is.
Now
all
you're
it
talking
is.
my language. Let's not
Yeah.
go to effects pedals from the 70s because I will. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's play effects pedals. You ready?
Okay.
MXR distortion pedal.
Sure.
You go. No. You have to name another pedal.
Oh, okay. Name the pedal.
Yeah, any pedal from the or Geppetto.
Yamaha 513.
A chorus. I'm talking about a type of effects pedal.
Okay.
A chorus.
Oh, Todd, go ahead.
Yamaha 517.
No, you can't. Okay, that's it. I win. I
Yes,
win again.
yes.
I win again at a game nobody wanted to play.
Yes.
That nobody
no one knew the
cared about.
rules.
No
Yeah.
one knew the rules.
No, they seemed to just come as they came. That was it.
Right.
Just piling up wins left and right this
Well
episode.
done.
Ready for another game?
Sure, let's do this.
Name some of my aunts. Go ahead. You go first.
Some of your aunts?
My aunts.
Cheryl.
That is incorrect.
Incorrect.
And Charlotte. Now
Okay.
you go. 1-0.
We'll go Mildred.
I'm a Jew. Mildred. Isn't that an old Christian
I
woman?
got it.
All
You
right,
ready?
yeah.
Ruth.
I have an Aunt Ruth.
Ding, ding,
Yes!
ding, 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 ding,
I can't
ding.
believe it.
Look at that.
1 to 1. 1 to
Okay.
1.
Okay, so this is it. This is the rubber match
This
right
is for
here?
the money. This is for all the money.
For the money.
And Roberta.
Okay.
And Roberta.
And Roberta.
Judges? Yes, we accept that he knows his family.
All right. Okay. We still have a comfortable number of ants that I can
think
I just want to
have
be
any
clear.
more.
You're the host and the judge on this.
Judges, we've run out of ants.
I can't believe
We're going to switch to uncles.
Okay.
Jew uncles.
Jew uncles. Maury.
No, that's the problem. Is Alan. That's not
Al.
a Jew name, right?
My grandfather was an Allen. Alan Van Allen. Yes. You
Oh, seriously?
I'm dead serious.
And was that a source of inspiration, or did people make fun of him?
No, everyone just called him Al. They called him Alfonso. Actually, that was the.
I toured the
small
country
fan
as
of-
Alfonso. Remember
that right?
for a couple of years?
Oh, I remember that.
Alfonso.
Anything is funny prefaced by "I toured the country as."
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'd have Andy. I toured the country as Andy-Semitic is one of
Right.
my actual jokes.
Yeah.
Are we still? Are we
Kids, I
still
hope
on?
you're learning a lot from this episode.
Are we live?
Yes.
Oh.
Clearly.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We
Streaming live on the
We're
internet.
going to take calls.
Yeah. As soon as you came through the door and I gave you coffee, we'd been recording ever since.
Is the caller there?
Well, is the caller available?
Right. I just
Long time, first time.
I just recently heard. I listened to the Todd Glass podcast.
That was unbelievable.
That you were on. You did a great job.
Oh,
on
I
that.
thought you were talking about Todd Glass on Mark Maron.
No, we can talk about that too. That was
Oh,
weird. That
I
was
had-
weird and so.
It was great, though.
So
wasn't
great.
It? No,
Yeah.
I thought it was amazing. I thought Todd was so great on that Mark Maron thing. No, I went on Todd Glass's podcast, and I have never in my life had so much fun. I hyperventilate. This happens to me. This is why I think there's actually I do believe in like a spiritual component to the universe, because sometimes I'll laugh, and I'll laugh so hard that I'll actually. I mean, I'm sure people say, well, you're just getting dizzy, but I feel like I'm going to actually, go
Right.
to the next life. So that's why I was, what? Too much
There we go.
windscreen?
No, you're
I
fine.
was, should we do the first part?
Yeah, can we? Yeah. We'll just start, ladies and gentlemen, we have Andy Kindler
I
here.
laugh because Todd did this thing where I claimed to have written the song "Shut Up, Be Your Face."
Yes, that's right.
So
And you just-
he
and it
went
went
right along.
on
He went
and on.
right along. Oh, you did write that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, well, you remember that song? It was
And
like
what
one
were
of
the original lyrics?
The worst novelty song of all time was "What's the matter with you? Shut up, Be Your Face." So I said, but that wasn't the original. I tried to go with the "Stop talking for a little while." Why don't you button it up for a second? or two?
Yeah.
And we literally went on for
yeah.
like hours.
That was one of the best hour and 45 minutes of my life
Is
I've
it
ever
that
spent
long?
listening to it. It's not that long. But it's a good 20 minutes, I would say. Because then now Todd, because he is so tangential, he has, now that he's got like all sort of like the morning zoo sound effects and the voice filters, it is like giving a toddler that xylophone, just, and he's got to go
Yeah.
over here and play with the mobile. And
He wanted me
yeah.
to go play the drums. I said, I mean, I can play.
yeah.
I can play maybe for
Sure.
a second or two. I said, do you play? And he goes, no. But then but he has them in the corner. Shouldn't they be necessary?
Just in case the right person shows up, he's ready to go.
Right.
in case Buddy Rich shows up
Yes.
from the grave.
Were you,
Gene Krupa is more
Were you part of Sam Kinnison's Comedians of Rock and Roll?
Absolutely
Yeah.
not. No, I stayed away from the Comedy Store and any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved Hicks, but I don't even think Hicks was there. But the
Yeah.
Comedy Store was a bad scene. But that's not where Kennison started. Those guys started in Texas, the Outlaws.
Yep.
I love. I mean, I don't know. I feel. Not fortunate that I didn't get a chance to see Kennison live because he was supposed to be amazing. And I love, Carl LeBeau. He did a great interview on Mark Maron's podcast.
Yep.
So I mean, they were the real deal, those guys, when they were the Outlaws in Texas, but I didn't know any of those. I mean, they're kind of before the generation. I don't know if the generation before me or we were in separate things.
So what would you consider your generation, like when you're rising up? Like we can take a look and go back at your like the New Faces, a comedy special that you had done and see.
Yeah.
Like, but who would you consider your contemporaries when
Well,
you're
I started out in the mid '80s, so I started out with people like I'll give you an example. Paul Feig, who just directed Bridesmaids, he was a comic. I started out with Judd Apatow.
Yep.
The Higgins boys and Gruber, who turned into Dave Higgins. Dave Allen, who did The Naked Trucker.
Yep.
And then Steve Higgins, who's produces Saturday Night Live. And then so let me see, who else did I start? And then I started out in the mainstream thing, and then I got into the alternative thing, and then it was like Janine Garofalo and all those people, Odenkirk. But I think I'm the kind of the oldest of that generation of people.
Yeah. And I remember you. I can remember like in the early days when I was starting out, sort of the first time I took a break, but then I got back into it. But watching like the early days in like the 80s and 90s, like these were the guys I wanted to say, and like you were top of that list.
I appreciate that. Brent Butt was a guy. I met Brent Butt like maybe a month after he started
great,
stand up.
isn't he?
It was unbelievable. I think he's like the funniest guy in the world. He's
and
just so funny.
He can
love
just
him.
go up and do anything, and he's going to be
he's
great.
great on the phone. He's great when we go out to eat.
Yeah.
We went to he was staying in Beverly Hills, and we went to like one of these places, Tiffany's or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's me and him walking around because he wanted to buy his wife something,
Right.
and they were seriously we were thought we were gonna get thrown out.
Really?
It was like one of these things.
You're
Like
just giggling?
maybe you'll find more stuff downstairs because they thought we were just like a couple of yahoos, which we are, but they didn't have to drive the point.
No. Everyone always talks about that one thing where, like, you know, if they ever made like $1 million and they're going to go buy a Bentley or something like that, I'm going to show up in my tattered shorts and my shirt torn up.
Yeah.
And then they'll go to the next dealership. Where's the next Bentley dealership that you're going to drive by and rub it into
And
this
how
guy's
good are you
face?
going to really feel? Really?
Yeah.
Is that really what is your goal?
Is that the big tip off? That's what you need to get done?
If you have that kind of money, you should be doing a lot of coke and going
Absolutely.
and driving off the edge of a cliff with that kind of a thing.
Right.
2-part plan. I like that.
Yeah. Overindulgence.
So there's been like a lot of churn this week actually in the comedy scene. Todd Glass, obviously, one of the first ones coming out. How did you didn't have any forward notion of this having been on the show, did you?
I didn't know really what Todd's sexual preferences were. I mean, when he slept with me, bang 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 bang.
I love that we don't have to light up the morning zoo
Todd
panel.
adds those afterwards, but it's great that you're doing it for him.
You know what? You've halved my editing costs now.
Exactly.
Thank you.
I'm not gay, but my boyfriend is.
Can you do a slide whistle?
AIDS, I don't want to get that again. Woo! 1989. No, I mean, I think that maybe to be honest, I think I maybe knew that Todd was, but it was like something. It was like to me, I'm really from the generation where my nephew's generation. They're even. That's why I think the Republicans, thank God, are going to just die out as a party in America because the Republicans are all based their whole political ideology and everything on wedge issues. That's how they've gotten elected.
Yep.
They took the Southern Democrats. Who used to be Democrats, but they were kind of racist, and now they folded them into the Republicans. So, like my nieces and nephews, that generation, they could care less what your sexual preference is, what the color, skin is, and so.
Yep.
So I never had that kind of thing where I would have been thinking about it. You know? And then, so I don't really know, but I've met Todd back in like the 80s. I've known him forever, but it's just one of those things. Like the other thing is, I think that a lot of times. You don't think about it. Like,
well, he never mentions it. Like when he came on this show this season, we did like a 2-parter with him, and nothing like that ever comes up. Like there's obviously like you talk about relationships and stuff like that, but there's never a mention of a significant other. And you just figure if that's part of the private life, I don't need to get into it, and why bother?
But that's why I thought it was such a revelation because he was so. Todd is. There's nobody funnier in the world than him. He's so funny, but you don't think of him as being. Articulate in a way because I feel like I'm not like sometimes I feel like there's something in my head that I want to say but I can't I'm just kind of like fumbling but I thought he was so articulate and so I mean not that he wasn't articulate but that I didn't realize that the depth of his thinking and stuff so I don't know why I'm squeezing but he was
that's
great.
That's the symbol for articulate
but I thought that part was great and I think it was like
he's one of these guys he's extremely articulate yet he will get tripped up on words. And he will turn to you and go, "What's the word I'm trying to say?" And he will say, "Articulate." And you go, "Yeah, that's it." And but he's just got one of these minds where it's just the tangents go, and he's able. I would put Greg Proops in the same category as well, where he's trusting the instincts and say, "This is where I'm going to go." And then, here's the difference: he will backtrack and do it again.
Right.
And again. And again, and then Rory Scovel comes in the room, and again. And again. And then you can't play drums yet.
Well, the thing about him is that we have one of these relationships where we are just make each other laugh so hard. So like after he did that Mark Maron thing, I texted him that, because we were supposed to get together for dinner. And I said, I can't get together with you for dinner this week because I'm going for 2 reasons. One, I'm going away to Toronto, and 2, I'm not comfortable with the fact that you're gay.
Right.
So that's what I texted him. And then the next day, I texted him that, I said, Jason Stewart wants your email. He wants to talk strategy.
Right.
And, for those people who don't know, Jason Stewart is well, I mean, some people call him a comic. All right. So, and then, but Todd then texted me, like he drove off the road almost, like, laughing because that's his big, not that is his big fear,
right.
but like he doesn't want to be pigeonholed as as anything, you know?
Yeah. I was reading something. Someone had called him up right after they listened to the episode and after the story had broken. So I guess he called him just to, lend support and see if he was okay. And Todd, I guess, had caller ID, and he just, as soon as he answered the phone, started singing "As Raining Men." It was like, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. The other thing, there's a couple of other things that happened over the course,
not good,
which leads in nicely into, we'll talk about your state of the industry address in a bit, but these sort of things kind of feed into it.
I told you, we have to plug that.
Yes. 4 times over the course of the show, I read the Riders. Don't worry about it. So that was one.
Because it's a free show that no one pays for, so please plug it.
Yeah. Eddie Brill got demoted.
Yeah, this one I really wouldn't talk about.
Yeah?
Yeah, because it's like I'm on that show.
I suppose that's right.
So
yeah.
it's like there's no way I can talk about this that it would be good.
Right.
You know, how's this? I've never in my life said this on an interview, but no, I've been thinking about this a while because I've been thinking about this since the thing happened. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about that this is going to come up, and what am I going to say about it? And I just feel I said to myself, I'm not going to bring it up, and there's just nothing to. There's no way to really approach it without.
Yeah. Well, that's certainly not what I wanted to talk to you about. It's like,
so maybe I should drop some of my defenses.
Is that fine?
Yeah, instead of going, I am not going to talk about
that. Do you want to lean into your lawyer?
Right. Give me some nitrous.
Just lean into your lawyer, like your lawyer's over there, and you got to listen to him like it's some sort of hearing.
Now, what were you going to say?
Well, I'm just saying, obviously, because that was the other part I wanted to lead in on. This is the fact that you work on Letterman and stuff like that. But it was more it wasn't the fact.
Todd dig out of this hole.
No. The point that I want to bring up is not that he was demoted. Or whatever it was that he was done. Whatever you read, there's chaos.
We're not talking about, so we don't know what happened.
Right. Yeah.
Folks, you're going to have to Google.
Exactly.
But don't, because even Googling could affect my career.
I know. That they dropped Wikipedia the other day because of this.
Yes. SOPA! Okay, I'm sorry.
It was more just the fact that
Barry over there.
It was
no, not at all.
Are you there?
I'm thinking about the whole. Like I read the article in the New York paper, and then I read sort of, people's interpretations of that, and then I go looking at, I don't know if you guys are on that Toronto stand-up page or whatever,
nope.
but
tragically,
yeah. So
wait, I want to go on this page.
No, you do not. You do not.
Listen, I've never been on it before at all. Someone had to add me to it so I could see about this.
Like, but against your will?
Well, yeah, like
it was a closed group, and they
it was a closed group, and they added me. Someone added me because, like, I guess like a whole fight had broken out about, like there's an open mic starting a comedy bar, and so I think only the first 3 shows have been booked, and then someone got in touch with the host and was like, "Are you intentionally not booking girls?" And there are a few girls booked, but like, I guess someone felt like it wasn't enough,
right?
Well, and the issue was like he wasn't being asked by any women.
Yeah, he's like, I'm booking whoever's messaging me. It's not anything.
Right.
And also it's like, I don't think 3 bookings into a show that hasn't even happened once yet, you can like have that kind of complaint yet. Like if you see a trend after 10 weeks or 15 weeks, you know what I mean? It's like, then maybe there's a fire there, you know what I mean? But anyway, it was just, it's obviously a sensitive subject, and that's when I read the New York article as well, I get why there was a response to what happened, but I also think it was like whatever. I mean, it's a critical thinking person who teaches comedy to people and can have like a critical thought on a subject and whatever. I just thought it's if you have an opinion of any kind on any subject, you're going to have people who agree with you and disagree with you.
Right.
So certain things you just should never talk about.
This has been diplomacy with Gary.
Yes.
No, I'll tell you. I mean, not to talk about this specifically, but I will say there's a in general, and for people who are getting into comedy or in comedy, I will say this: you cannot trust. I mean, there's a lot of journalists who I love, and once I know them, I love them. but you can't trust journalists because half of I wouldn't say 50%, but there's a large percentage of, and this is true with people in radio or any place that you go on, they are looking to get you in trouble or to print something controversial.
Of course, yeah. They want the controversy because that's what creates interest in the product. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right?
Well, this was what I wanted to bring up on this. It was not certainly not the fact that, anything you be sitting around the coffee machine and there goes Eddie goes, ooh, Islanders are doing shitty, aren't they? It was more the explosion of a hyperbole that came out around this. And suddenly there was just, as soon as this sort of dropped in the bucket, Twitter exploded that day, and
you
it was just
with
like
the female part of it.
Just it was both sides, really rattling sabers and going, oh, this is bullshit, and what he said, and other people kind of trying to defend what he was saying, and there was really not sort of any context, and Eddie Brill came back and tried to provide the context, and even when you see that, it seemed fine, but then other people are taking offense to that. I mean, like it's amazing how much stirs up in media just because of the immediacy of what happens.
Well, this is
right?
and this is what's wrong, not what's wrong, but in general, like my wife, we were looking at IMDb the other day,
right?
Because I have a DVD, and we was like, oh, we should list this on the IMDb, because I guess like they get 50 million hits or whatever. Sure. But then my wife scrolls down to the comments. She goes, "Oh my god!" I said, "I told you, do not read comments,
no,
especially nowhere, but especially." On IMDb or any of these places, YouTube or whatever,
YouTube is just
YouTube is the worst.
The cesspool.
Is the cesspool
of
realized I was
ghostwriting.
shaking my head. No, I'm like agreeing with you. I'm like, yeah.
But
I'm like,
yeah.
I gotta get used to this radio thing, guys.
Yeah. It's the shame. No, but the thing about it is that what I think happens is whatever happened in that situation, what all this talk about it, you can't talk about it as if this was something that was person A premeditated this comment, and then it's like that's not. So when you extend these things out and they get into like flame outs and all these different people's like. All of that stuff means nothing really because I've been reading a little bit online too. It's like people are going on and on and on and on and on and really knowing probably nothing about what's, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not so easy to just say this was what it was and let's argue about this. And I think that's the problem.
There's a mathematic, I took a math degree and there's a particular geometry.
You have a math degree?
I do.
Wow.
There's a mathematic where parallel lines meet. Right, it's a specific geometry, and everything meets at a specific point.
How do I know? You could be lying. You're a math guy.
It's there.
Yeah, none of us would know.
And in that same vein, I think every comment thread in YouTube, everything in IMDb, all sort of trends to the same point, and that point is fuck you, faggot.
Right,
that's where it ends.
Yes.
It's like okay, you got to wait. Oh, this is going to be good. This will be good. Nope. Spiraling. Fuck you, faggot. There it is. And that's where it all ends.
Well, I'll tell you. Not aside from this, where I have to be not very careful, but I try to be just slightly careful on Twitter because. It's like Gilbert Gottfried did those jokes and all of a sudden he was the athlete. I mean, that's, I think, a danger for comedians, but you can't go, like, cause I try to, you may think something's really hilarious in the moment, but then you have to take that one, like, eighth of or 10th of a second or 2 seconds to go, what am I putting out there,
Yeah.
And so as I've gone further and further online and things like that, in the old days, I had the worst. There used to be a thing called the Stump. You remember the Stump?
Yeah, I remember the Stump.
Yeah, so it was like comedians and writers, and I had this big horrible argument on there, and it was back in the old days where it was called a tight circle.
Yep.
And so like once a day, you could go on and see what happened for the day.
Yeah.
And they would send it to
They
your
would do
email.
the summaries
Or I
and
guess
stuff
you could
like
go
that.
to the actual site and see it minute to minute. But I learned early on. Don't get into these flame wars. I still sometimes will get into a fight, but like on Twitter,
they're fun sometimes.
They're fun sometimes. But on Twitter, I try to keep everything as unless I'm enraged about politics.
Right.
But in general, I try. If someone says you suck, whatever, I try to deflect it, and then I block them if it looks like it's going to get bad.
Yeah.
But I don't know where I was going with that. But in general, just like it's a weird thing because it's all immediate in the moment.
It is. You do have to sort of audit yourself, and like it's the weirdest thing. Like you'll think. There'll be a tweet that you send out or some sort of posting that you do and like, oh God, I don't know if I want to do it, but it's really funny. I'm going to try it. And sure enough, you lose 2 followers, but then you gain 10.
I have to do the same thing, but with rage emails now. So I have to get it out. I have to write the whole thing out, but then I won't send it. I'll wait till the next day.
Draft.
Right.
Yeah. And then the next day I'll read it and I'll edit it and make it a little softer. I'm like, okay, now I'm not so upset about this. I have some perspective now. I'll send a nicer version of this.
So being a grown up sucks.
Let's get because as you were mentioning that that service. We had the AST forums seem to be fairly pristine. They don't seem to get a lot of flame in there.
I think they do, but not as much.
Not as much as
the guys who run that are good guys, and they want it to be
Yep.
more about comedy than about craziness.
But we had for a long time, we had like the Toronto comedy forums, and they were like, local comics. We get comics from outside the wall, and then Vancouver had their own sort of service where they did the exact same thing.
Vancouver was terrible.
And then this local startup on Facebook, which was the Toronto Stand-Ups group, whatever.
I can't monitor this?
No, because here's the thing. Like every one of these,
terrible, it got shut down.
Please invite. Oh, really?
Yeah, they stopped it as of this argument that I was talking about.
Are you
They
serious?
decided to stop it. Yeah.
Can you send me the transcripts?
Apparently, there's a new one that's coming now.
Supposed to be more, everybody
it's
let's form
less-
a circle.
Right.
There's going to be less censorship.
So what is it about? I've got my own theory. So what makes you think or can explain why so many of these forums are just suddenly just spiral? Is it just ego over ego? Is that what it is? Is it just the comic destruction? Like, what do you think?
There is a continuum. There's a continuum that goes along lines. Like, so for example, like on Twitter sometimes someone will say something horrible about me. And then, but it's not even that horrible. Sometimes, let's say it's just like,
suck.
What would you know? Like a lot of things, like I do a bit about how, I can't stand Curb Your Enthusiasm, drives me crazy. I'll tweet about it, and then people are like, well, where's your show?
Right.
Like in other words, I went to a French restaurant, I said, I don't like the food. I go, where's your French restaurant?
Right.
Where's your Thai? let me see your Thai salad.
Right.
So, what were we talking about? My mind
Spiraling
went,
out of control commentary.
Oh, okay.
comments,
So sometimes on Twitter, someone will say something like "you suck," or whatever, and then I'll say something, hopefully funny back to them.
Yeah.
They'll retweet it and they'll favorite it. They're looking for me to react.
Right.
So there's that thing. I was on this kids show called The Wizards of Waverly Place, and it's Selena Gomez is the star, and she's the sweetest kid, and not a kid now, she's an adult. But we were talking one day, and just about, and it's like someone like her gets things horrible said about her on Twitter. It was like, well, why would they, it's like anybody who's a public figure, they'll go, they'll attack.
What kind of, do you have like an inside scoop on her and Biebs or what?
I have no insights. I have no inside scoop.
What can you say about that?
Oh, let me talk to Harvey Levin because I talk to him every 4 hours. But the point is,
got to make a call. I know
have
it's
to
been
make
4 hours. Is that?
Well, are we in the 3 mile? What is it? 3 mile zone? What is it?
3 mile zone?
That's what it stands for. 30 mile zone.
Oh, TMZ. Yeah. 3 mile zone where it's
with the
around,
Hollywood. Yeah. So, but then what happens on these boards, like comedian boards, is that you have a lot of people who are angry. I could be this way too, but I think there's a maturity level to it too.
Yep.
And then it starts to get into this, because the other thing is, like, when you get on these things, sometimes it's like very satisfying. I've had things where express yourself. You go, oh, you're getting it out, but then it goes off the rails, and I don't know. What do you think it is? I don't really know.
I don't know. I think what happens is, and we've had two separate threads actually on Facebook in the Toronto community recently, and one was a comic saying, if don't call yourself a comic if you're not. And we're trying to, and I found that question very introspective, in that, it was like, am I a comic? Like, like compared to like, the likes of yourselves, or like, I'm touring around, I'm getting, some headlining spots and stuff like that.
What was
their
point though? What was their point?
The point was, I think he was getting bothered by like first timers suddenly calling themselves comedians.
Okay.
And so he was like, you're not a comic unless, and he gave out 2 or 3 points, like, someone's paying you to do it, someone who you respect, that is a comedian, actually calls you a comedian. People are asking to have you open for them. These are the things that make you a comic. And I found that question in itself it was introspective. Like, it was like, oh, what, like, am I a comic? And that's like, yeah, I think I am. I think I can under that guise. And I have my own sort of personal ideas about it. But a lot of people took offense to it. Go, how dare you? And this was the thing he brought up. A lot of comics were saying, how dare you not call me a comic? When I'm out there working it hard. And these are the same people that were on the Toronto stand-up forums going, how do I host?
What basically, how I think it goes, like you have 2 points of view. You have point A, point B, and 2 people are arguing about it. But suddenly, each point of view starts gathering more and more maniacs to each side. And suddenly you have to defend yourself against the, insert names here. Your Alex Brovadanis and all the rest of it. It's like, suddenly it's like, fucking hell. Like, why do I have to deal with these? Like, just because they agree with me doesn't mean I agree with them.
Right.
That was
Yeah,
the big issue.
that's someone else's take. Like that's very funny when someone takes your stance or your idea, but is extreme about it, and you're like, well, no, that's not what I was saying.
That's not what I'm saying. Yeah.
But it's anything, right?
Yeah.
It's I look at we were talking about the Letterman thing, and I just say, okay, so there are, let's say 1,000 comics. There's way more than that, but let's say there's 1,000 comics and 20 a year get to be on the show. Yeah. That leaves 980 who are going to complain no matter what.
Yeah.
Right? So if the pool of people is exclusive in some way, right? Like if the number of comics who can call themselves a comic because they're paid working comics is a smaller group of people than all the new Humber graduates who are like showing up at all these, crappy rooms and that's the thing that annoyed K-Trav to get him to do that or whatever, because they're all like, I'm a comic, because they come out of school with all this confidence, or, we have a huge community of, and we have all kinds of these like rooms that start up in the back of a bar, and the only people in the room are the comics themselves and people and the weirdo regulars sitting at the bar who are just used to absolute quiet and are annoyed that a comedy show has all of a sudden popped up in this bar. And is that a comedy show to perform to the 7 other comics on the bill and the 2 old guys at the bar that don't want to hear comedy? Like, is that helping you? I guess you're on stage at a microphone, but doing that every week for a few weeks, does that make you a comic?
Here's the thing. I just had this insight about it. It's like, here's the problem with that argument. It is not factually true what he's saying as a fact. In other words, there's no such thing as you're a comic or not a comic. I was funny. My dad's hilarious. Is he a comic? Yes, he's a comic. He's hilarious. Yes. There's no delineation. I go, nice try, Dad, but leave it to the pros. No, the guy's hilarious. So there's a full
best Thanksgiving ever.
I got my comedy from my dad. So there's an arbitrary line that doesn't exist that he's drawing. He is making, whoever that person was, maybe making a legitimate point because he's tired of everybody acting like an expert about comedy. But that's really the truth. Don't act like you're an expert, but then it gets into this thing where someone has to defend. Oh no, I actually believe you're not a comic unless you make $6,000 a year. Right. But there is a false argument there because really one of the things I've always hated about comedy when I started, I don't believe in hierarchies. I don't believe in a caste system. I don't believe I'm funnier than you because I've been doing it. Yeah, I've been doing it for 27 years. We know that we can say certain things about me. I know how to, I may have been funny before I got on stage. Now I know how to do it better. Right. But I'm not going to say, oh, look, kid. I don't like that. So it's like the first time you go on a stage, your attempt, let's just say you're trying comedy. So, wherever it goes. But I think, that's the problem is he's making, there's legitimacy to what that person is saying. But then it gets to be these arguments. Over the thing of, are you a comic? Today's topic, are you a comic or you're not a comic? Well, that's like a false premise.
But once the fight starts, you can't let it go.
No.
You have to just keep defending yourself, and you have to just always be,
Did the one guy saying you're not a comic, was that kind of how it went?
It just never stopped. After a while,
it just snowballed.
And then the fact that it just got so ridiculous, he kind of just would feed it like the next day with a new, just started to up the ante, and it just kept going.
Do people get like physically threatening and stuff?
No, it's all
but in
it's all ghost fighting.
In the same way that you're saying, like, be careful of the media in an interview because they want the attention, they want to attract people to the story. It's the same way. Like, it was exciting that everyone was arguing on this one thread. So it was like lots of times there's just more fuel to the fire to keep it going.
Right.
The argument that I had on it was like, if I go through electrician school and I'm going through my apprenticeship and that sort of thing, and I finally get done and I hang my shingle out, over that course, I'm not an electrician. I gotta wait. But then as soon as I put out that shingle, I'm still not an electrician until someone gets me to be an electrician. Right. There's that.
But I would say that's if you want to define it that way. Right. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But other people going, well, I think I'm funny and I'm trying comedy. Why are you, you know what I mean? It's like I could see all sides of it in the sense that the first time I went on stage, if someone said, look, Schmoopy, come back when you've got your shingle. Right. I wouldn't have liked that so much.
But there's a license to be an electrician.
There is a license. But here's the thing. It's a different, we can't really call it a profession because like in professions there are, there's some tenets of professionalism. Stand-up?
No, I think it's a profession.
If you look at the tenets of professionalism, they actually do fit because one of them is the autonomy to fail. which is graced every time you hit the stage.
Right.
There is an internship, so you're able to be mentored and that sort of thing. You're able to
bright guy. I didn't know. You didn't tell me he was bright.
I don't know what he's talking
I
about.
don't know why he
okay.
can't convey any of this on stage, but
You're
he's great
able-
behind that
Yeah.
microphone.
You're able to. He doesn't go on stage anymore. You just saw why.
Whoa! Ouch!
Hey,
You've been Todd Van Allen.
Yes.
Allen.
1989. One of them is that you're able to collaborate with your peers in an open forum and that sort of thing. There's like three or four of the tenets of professionalism that doctors, lawyers, and other so-called professions work. And the more and more I thought of it, the more I was like, for the most part, it does work that way. But the thing is, like, once you're done your internships as a doctor, once you're done your clerk work as a lawyer, there's that point where the box is ticked and you go, yes, I'm a lawyer, and now I can put out the shingle and people are going to do it. There's really none of that. It's a very hazy transition for a comedian to be able to slide through that. You're really sort of, there isn't that point where you go, boom, I've got a piece of paper, now I'm a comic.
Right. Well, how you do this? You say you're a new comic. You come up to me and ask me if I'm a comic. So,
Okay.
Andy, am I a comic?
Okay. Hi, Andy.
role play.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Mr. Kindler.
Hi,
Sorry,
nice to meet.
I hate to bother you.
I know.
hate
It
to
was a
bother
great
you.
show. It was a great show.
You
I can't
were great up
sign.
there?
If I sign for you, I have to sign for everybody.
Oh no, I'm
sorry.
I'm not asking for autographs. I just
if I talk to you,
Sure.
I have to talk to everybody.
It's just a
okay,
quick question.
no problem. I'm
Just
very
a quick
busy,
question.
but go ahead.
I understand.
Yeah.
Are you a
No,
comedian?
No, you're saying you're new.
Yeah.
And you want to know if you're a comedian.
Okay, I'm sorry, I got it
Yeah.
wrong. So
Try it
I'm
again.
just starting out, starting out myself. I did a couple of open mics and
Right.
stuff like that. Things are going well. I just want, would you consider me a comic?
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you have a 4-minute opening hunk?
Yeah.
Do you have
yeah.
do you have any crowd work that you do?
I talk to people. Yeah,
Okay.
when they
Do
talk
you
to
have
me.
do you have a middle area that's 17 minutes that's both topical but also current?
It's
Strong
about,
closer?
It's about 60. Yeah, it's
Do you
not bad.
Do you
It's
have
not
comedy
bad.
clothes?
I have
piano,
a shirt.
piano key tie.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
A blazer
3.
with the. I'm sorry, this is the wrong period.
Have you been on Evening at the Improv?
Yeah, have you been on Comedy on the
Like
Road with
the
John
road?
Biner?
Right.
Have you been on MTV's
God.
Half Hour Comedy Hour?
I so remember every one of those shows as well. It's a brutal time for comedy, I would say. It was just because you were in the middle of that. Because you would show up on these things like all the time.
I was
It great.
extremely lucky because
Yep.
when I started, it was like the boom was on its was going,
Mm-hmm.
but I was able to work 40 weeks. I was working 40 weeks a year on the road, so I got so much time.
Mm-hmm.
But I was lucky in that I didn't get poisoned by it and become, slave to the crowd type.
Right.
Thing. But yeah, it got terrible. It got I mean, that's one of the things. Like I wrote that article for National Lampoon, which is on my website. How to be a hack.
What website is that?
AndyKindler.com.
Thank you. That's one plug. We got that out
One
of the
thing
way.
I want to say is that AndyKindler.com, there's no chance. A lot of people say, I hate when I go to a website and there's new stuff there. Not with AndyKindler.com. It's rocks. It's solid. Do you looking for a static space?
There
in the
are
internet?
sometimes I go, what shows did Andy do in 2009?
Right.
I can use this as a resource.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Everything's and like take the dates that are on there and imagine where I'd be playing now.
Oh, I bet you he'd be in Florida. Orlando?
Maybe.
Maybe.
So I wrote this thing called the Hack Comics Handbook, and it was about, and it was like in 1991, just as the thing was about to implode. And so, yeah, in that time period, it was because I used to do jokes like because the clubs got so terrible. So I used to do jokes like I asked my manager, I don't know, comedy in a comedy club sounds a little dicey, So that was a terrible period, the early 90s to the late 90s in terms of. And that's why, like, I remember Letterman in those days, he used to crack me up so much. He would go on the show and go, I just want to say one thing. We have enough comics. We're good. You know what I mean? Because he was, it was so, he came when his show was in the 80s at Richard Lewis and all these people came on. And so, yeah, it was a weird period.
It was his was a show definitely in the 80s that we just used to showcase so many great comics at that time. Like that was the heyday. And then you're right. As soon as the 90s hit, it just blah. But there was, I remember recording these guys, like in high school and just, I would, save the tape and watch these guys. Like that was when you saw early Rich Scheidner. Who's in I Am Comic
Rich
now.
Scheidner, it was one of the inspirations to me when I started because he was so amazing. And a lot of people, I don't know if they heard the material he used to do back. Well, he's funny now, hilarious now, but he was so great, just so great, one of the best. Yeah, and he was.
I still, to this day, his moving bit where you're helping a buddy move, and it's like, at the beginning of the day, everyone's all good and everyone's very strong and fit, and go, oh yeah, just throw the fridge on my back, put the mattress on top of that, let's go. About 20 minutes later, okay, everyone grab an album, and then he's like, okay, angle it, and to this day, I will just be doing something, and I'll hear angle it, angle it. It's fantastic. One more thing that kind of came up topically as we're speaking about all these things, it kind of fits in. Before we talk about the state of the industry, that's two obliged.
Right, yeah.
I got two more, and then the contract
Plug my,
is fulfilled.
don't forget to plug my gig at the Comedy Bar.
Oh, that's happening. That'll
All right,
happen. Yeah.
plug it.
At the Comedy Bar all this weekend.
Yeah.
2 shows tonight.
2 shows
Friday,
tonight, 2 shows Saturday.
and Sunday Night Live on Sunday.
So do that live.
Yeah. Do you like doing sketch?
I would not do sketch on my own.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's not sketch.
No, I mean, if it wasn't for this show, I
okay.
wouldn't do sketch.
Okay.
But this is, so like part of me is nervous about it. I was nervous the last time I did it because I don't feel like it's my, it's like anything else. I'm not going to be one of these people who ask themselves questions. Could I be a good sketch player? Maybe. Would I like to do it? No, I mean, I feel like I could do it okay, but I don't think it would ever, I want to bail. Like, I used to be in a comedy duo when I started.
Sure.
And, it was called Andy and Bill. And if the bit wasn't going well, I would just bail of the bit.
Yeah.
So he'd be like, all of a sudden, oh no, I'm no longer a Martian who's eating cheese. So
There's no way Bill was into that.
No. I tend to break, I tend to like go.
Sketch. Just abandon it halfway through.
Right.
That was every one of our sketches.
Right. Well,
So that was
Todd Glass's running joke on his podcast.
What's that?
We're the bailouts.
Oh yeah,
I think it's his. It's his, or I may be confusing it with Jimmy Pardo. It's one of those two. Like one of those two, when they're going into a bit, they go like, "We're the bailouts, people.
We're the bailouts.
We're the bailouts."
But it was such a thrill last time when I did it. It was really fun. I mean, I still remember that day very, very well. So I felt like it was fun to do it, and but I was nervous.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely you've got chops as an actor.
Oh, I mean,
sure.
if you're thinking about coming to the Sunday show, I will.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be hilarious.
Yes. Yeah.
Hilarious.
You've got the opening monologue, which you are going to own. You're going to own. You're just going to physically harm these people.
Yeah, well, I do my
so
oil shard sand. What are they called again? Tar sands?
Tar sands.
My tar sands.
You really got
It's oil sands, tar sands.
It's tar
Oil
sands.
I don't know.
Oil sands.
Either one. Really.
I would say go with tar sands.
Right.
Definitely.
And then just pretend I'm upset that the deal didn't go through.
I would, if you want to nail that joke, I would really get the term right.
Tar sands.
That's just my advice to you.
Or, you know what would be good? If I learned some information about the bit.
That's it.
Yeah.
What are you, Greg Proops suddenly?
Who am I?
Going up there with reading newspapers, making jokes about the headlines?
Is that what he does?
Yeah. Have you listened to his podcast?
Oh,
he does like an office.
He's like a Mort Saul type thing?
But funny. Sure.
Mort Saul never made me laugh. But I never saw him in his prime.
That's true, actually.
So, but people love him and they swear by him. But he's one of these guys like, every time I've seen him, he's like Bill Maher. He laughs at his own jokes. Bill Maher, watch him next Friday if you can stomach it. He will laugh at his own jokes. Or as he's saying,
he does that all the time.
He has been doing I can't really, I have gone from loving that show to, I can't stand him for one. The least attractive people on the planet to me now are, angry atheists who think that anybody who believes in any kind of concept of spirituality believes the Bible literally.
Right.
And it's like, and they're having the same argument. It's like in 2012, you're making the argument, hey man, the stuff in the Bible didn't really happen. It's like, what are you, an idiot? It's like he's still stuck in this thing. It's like he's talking about Mormons last week. He's talking about how, do you believe they wear magic underwear? Look, I know the Mormon religion of all the religions is, I don't believe Joseph Smith went into the thing. I believe there was a Jesus Christ, and I believe he was one of the great spiritual figures of all time. So I don't believe in the Mormon beginnings, but I have friends who are Mormon. It's like they don't believe it. It's like just because they were born into a thing and they may have taken from it and now they feel religious or spiritual or whatever, that doesn't mean it's like they don't, but he picks this one thing. Oh, you believe in magic underwear?
Yeah.
And it's like, and so it's like,
I do, as a matter of fact.
Well, that's different.
Just so you know.
And that's what the ladies say when they sleep with me. And they go, hello, I'd like to see what's in the magic underwear. It's a trick. I do a David Copperfield.
Yeah.
Would you
Watch
like
me
to see
make this disappear.
Would you like to see my Statue of Liberty? That kind of a thing.
Yes.
But Statue of Penetration. But Bill Maher, listen to him when he does his horrible monologue. And remember, has all week to prepare.
For sure.
and he picks the worst jokes,
Yep.
and he laughs like an idiot during them.
It was I was listening to Jimmy Dore.
I can't stand him. I really can't.
I was listening to Jimmy Dore, and I can't
I'd
remember
love to
who
be
the
on the
guest
show.
was. Yeah. And he was saying, like, when you go watch a comedian right now, go in and watch it with the mind of this is what he or she chose to say.
Right.
That was the choice.
Yeah,
These
exactly.
are the choices they made. So obviously he's taking more of a standpoint of doing more sort of political in the moment, sort of zeitgeist, whatever is of the news and is of topical. That's the style of his comedy right now. But I think it's like as going forward for any comic, you just think about it. Go, this is your time. What do you want to say?
Yeah. Well, Greg proves he's got a great mind, so.
He's just kind of all over the place. The
Why are we endorsing his podcast? We're supposed to be let's
endorsing
plug ours.
ours.
Exactly.
Yes.
Don't listen to Greg Proops.
Yeah, don't.
No, is that we're going to go that far?
It's awful.
Okay.
One word titles that are
Such terrible
quippy.
things about Andy when he was
Jesus.
here. So
It's true, actually. You really should write him a letter. A strongly
What?
worded one. Oh, yes.
What?
You're going to want to go back and listen to that.
I don't think it could have happened because
Right.
it would have come into my Google alert.
But Andy, I think like even and look, I'm not defending Bill Maher, but like
Well, you can defend him. Even just because I'm
believe me, I'm not
frothing at the mouth.
No, believe me, I'm not. But there are like people think that like isn't like half the population of the U.S. aren't they like creationists or something?
No. But here's the point. I don't think half of them there are. Half of the Republican Party, which is a party that's dying and filled with people who are, many of them are hate filled.
Mm-hmm.
No, but the thing is, I knew this when I was 17.
There's nothing
that they're fundamentalists.
There's nothing creepier than a young Republican. It's
Right.
very strange.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's the suit that is off-putting to me. It's that suit and tie.
Yeah, who needs it? But no, I agree. I mean, but the point is, I used to do a joke about that the only people who take the Bible literally are fundamentalists and atheists.
Right.
So I did the joke like, it's like, well, if you want to believe that God's an old man lives in the clouds. So my joke was like, I'd love for God to be an old man who lives in the clouds. So when the atheist dies and goes there and God goes, surprised hot shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it's like, he's having an argument that
Right.
it's like, this is religion 101 from the 60s. Lenny Bruce covered this in a much more, insightful way. He was talking about religion as a corporation. That was interesting. But in 2012, you can tell me, oh, the Bible, and the other thing is, there are horrible fundamentalists, but in general, the Bible and all these different books, it's poetry.
Yeah.
These are like stories,
Yeah.
in the old days, people didn't take the religion, they didn't go, is that true about the Roman gods? I mean, some people took it literally, but they were meant to help you with your life.
It was, if you look back at those old Roman scriptures, when the descriptions of the gods, what they were trying to do is fulfill an explanation of what was happening around them. And so they had very limited sort of resources as to what science was. Like, this was still the point where the sun revolved around us. Let's keep that in mind.
wait a minute, what?
Yeah, I'll show you the website. And so they were trying to grapple, in my mind, they're trying to grapple with, well, what is this? And go, well, obviously it's a god of some sort of higher being. And they just went higher because it's in the goddamn sky. It's like, oh yeah, it's a sun god. He gives us light. And then we grow from the earth god who gives us food.
Right, right.
It's that sort of spawns, like, it's really just, I find that with any sort of religious tome that we've got, whether it's like the Bible, the Quran, whatever, it's really just an explanation of how to live your life in a good way.
Yeah,
the
Upanishads or these old things, they're very spiritual. I mean, they're cool things. It's like Zen Buddhism. I mean, there's cool aspects of it. There's all that. But the thing is, I believe in what I call God. I don't have a problem with the word God. Yeah. But how can a guy like Penn Jillette and tell me that everything I believe is wrong? You don't even know what I believe in it.
Yeah.
If I was to tell you, well, I mean, like, by God, like I heard George Carlin, if you can see it online on YouTube, where they're saying he's an atheist, and then the next second he goes, well, if you're saying that we're all part of some kind of big thing, and well, that's cool. Well, that's what most people believe.
Yeah.
That's what I believe when I say a God. It's like, and I'm amazed at artists. These, I don't know, Penn Jillette drives me nuts. So, but artists who, did you ever smoke a joint? Did you ever get high? Did you ever play music? Did you ever have something came to you on stage? You don't know where it came from. There's a kind of a celebration of life. People think that if you believe in something else that's going on, that you have to prove it. It's not science.
Right.
I'm not saying that I scientifically have the proof of how the universe was, eliminated. There's an interesting thing, I heard on NPR where this guy was saying that he was very anti-religion, and then he went and studied it, and then he was more pro-spirituality. It's like, he said, it's an apples and oranges. Like, okay, We know there's no God. We have science now, so we no longer have to read Shakespeare.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not the same.
No.
It's not the same thing. So it just drives me nuts. I wish I could be funnier about it. That'd be great.
I mean, my whole thing with the Bill Maher thing is Bill Maher is one of the guys that I loved growing up.
Yeah.
And I watch him now with his very fervent attacks on spirituality. I think it's that's his response to people like Michelle Bachmann suddenly being able to be a legitimate presidential candidate. I mean, obviously she's out now, but just like the blind evangelical faith that kind of pushes people like that who are completely unqualified.
But he ruins it for us because we should be. Did you see the thing he wrote about Tim Tebow?
No.
He tweeted about Tim Tebow. It was like,
around Christmas time, where Tebow was losing to the Bills.
Yeah, well, I guess Tebow's down in hell with a thing. It's like
God just fucked Tebow on Christmas.
It's like it was unfunny. It was just meant to provoke.
Yep.
He is literally. Here's the problem with people like Bill Maher. And I really mean this from the bottom of my heart. If you're a truly subversive comedian, we look back in time and go, Saturday Night Live when it started was subversive.
Yep.
You're not trying to be subversive. You're trying to connect with your own whatever it is. He's trying to be subversive.
Yep.
He's trying to be provocative. And to me, that's like, it just leaves me so cold because you're trying to go out of your way to get for publicity for yourself, or you get your career going. I don't know what he's thinking.
Yeah, here's from his catalog of stuff. I actually enjoyed the show Politically Incorrect, and the reason I did is because he would obviously stoke the fires and sort of throw in his agenda, but you would be able to see people, just 4 people from different walks of life, of some degree of celebrity, sit down and opine on what they thought of the particular topic. And you would actually be able to see that old adage of it is better to close your mouth and not be an idiot than open your mouth and prove it. Like there was a lot of people we would watch that show and go, I can't believe that person walks and breathes.
Right. And I think I agree with you.
That was a great moment.
I was on the old Politically Correct. I was on it twice. But even when Real Time first started, I loved the show because there was nowhere and a lot of times people say, it's like I make fun of things a lot of times of like people. I started making fun of Adam Sandler because I loved his early stuff. I loved him on Saturday Night Live. So then when he started making these horrible movies, I was like, something inside me goes, I need to talk about this, or I'm compelled to talk about this. And that's the same thing with Bill Maher. It's like he had the greatest format in the world. I thought he had a great show. He's got some brilliant people who work on his show, and he's just throwing it away. He's just throwing it away because of his own egomaniacal.
Right.
But the thing that bothers me is that there's no intelligence to what he's saying. There's no deep-seated, intellectual intelligence. It's like I heard Penn Jillette was on Mark Maron show.
Sure.
And he's talking about why health, cause he's like some libertarian creep. He's creepy. So he was saying and I'm sorry, he should probably kick my ass, but, I'll run away.
He's a tall fella.
He's a tall fella.
Yeah.
But he's talking about how healthcare is all screwed up and it'd be better if it was just by the marketplace. And here's the example he uses. He goes, for example, LASIK eye surgery is not covered by insurance. So now the price keeps going down and down and down. And see if you allow the marketplace, you would have a good price. Look, Penn, people don't have to get LASIK eye surgery.
No, it's elective.
This is the example that this genius Penn Jillette is bringing up. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard anybody say. You don't need LASIK eye surgery. You need a heart transplant. Or you need something that's like, it's clearly optional.
If we open up heart surgery to Medicare, and then we have a challenging, and then eventually the prices of heart surgery will go down and down and down.
A lot of times I go, this guy is going to defeat me with his brilliant intellectualism. It's like Christopher Hitchens. I'm sorry he passed away. The guy was an idiot. Okay. Yeah. He was mean. He said women weren't funny. It's like, he said Mother Teresa was a horrible person. It's like, I'm sorry he died. I'm not going to celebrate this guy.
Yeah.
I wasn't the day died online.
You didn't
screaming
that
things.
eulogy for him.
No,
right.
But the guy was despicable to me, and people loved him because I don't know, maybe one day in the old days he was good when he wrote for Rolling Stone. I didn't read his old stuff, but everything from him supporting the Iraq invasion to him just accusing Clinton of rape, and then the thing that he did with women aren't funny, and that guy is funny.
Yeah.
So anyway, stop me. Someone stop me.
No, keep going.
Actually, it's like, and then
what do you think about Newt Gingrich?
I love that guy.
He's fantastic.
I like race baiting.
Right. We lost Ross Perry in the race. Was that it? Was that the guy that we lost
I think
yesterday?
it wasn't Ross Perry. It's H. Ross.
Rick Perry.
H. Ross Perry.
H. Ross Perry. Rick Perry.
Yeah,
Ross Perry.
Rick Perry's
I don't know.
out. He's back in.
This shows how much
Toronto.
I pay attention to the Republican Party in the States, by the way.
I'm not supposed to say idiot, by the way. I just realized something. I met this really
Nice idiot?
brilliant guy. He's a comic in Grand Rapids. I forgot his name right now. He'll kill me. Really brilliant guy. And he explained to me that all these terms that we use, and I'm a big fan of these terms, you really shouldn't be using them because a psychologist in like 1905 came up with IQ tests. And he said like someone this intelligent was an imbecile. Someone this intelligent was a moron.
Yep.
And so those words really are bad. And
Yeah.
I can't, so I have to come up with.
But bad how? You're using them with the same intent as they were originally
Because
created.
originally they were talking about, it's like saying retarded in a way. It's like they were used to for people who were having whatever development things. You're saying, well, whatever you have is you're an idiot.
Okay.
You know?
Well, on the IQ test.
But some of those words don't have have meaning anymore. Like people don't remember them originally.
So here's a question on that IQ thing where you can't use moron and imbecile. Did dipshit ever show up?
That's fine.
There.
Fathead's
Use that.
good.
Use that.
Fathead's good.
Fathead, that's a
Yeah,
good one.
yeah.
Chowderhead always made me giggle.
Chowderhead's good.
Yeah, some chowderhead.
I'm trying to come up
jabbing
with
on
stuff like that.
Yeah, chowderhead is good.
You morons.
Hey, don't make me come over there.
My father used to go, he's a low-grade moron.
A low grade. Write that down.
I'll write it down, but it'll never be used
Right.
again. The other one I'm going to write down is what do I say to my dad? Leave it to the pros.
Leave it to the pros. Leave it to the pros.
They'll never use it again.
Jot those down.
Work it into your Sunday Night Live hosting.
Yes. Which you can see at Comedy Bar this weekend. Make sure you come down there. The weekend in question is the 19th, 20th, and 21st. 20th, 21st, 22nd. The 19th
I feel
was yesterday.
bad that I've gone off on these things.
No.
Why?
Well, here's the thing.
Damn you and your compelling conversation.
No.
Damn you, Andy.
We're going to
Kindler.
bring this back. We're going to talk about a little bit more comedy before we get into the State of the Industry address.
Well,
That
I
is
also want to talk
3.
about his work with the film festival.
Well, that
which
is
good.
coming. That
Okay.
is coming.
I can't see your notes. I don't know what you've
Recently,
done.
when I saw you at Just for Laughs, you were on the show with TJ Miller.
The Alternative Show?
The Alternative Show.
Oh, man.
And so TJ came out, did a great job. Pat Thornton was on that show. It was really well put together. And you had a hand in putting that together.
I've been a hand. Come on,
Yeah.
what is this? A hand? I came up with that show. I invented alternative comedy. No, I started that show in Montreal.
Yeah.
When we had to actually call it the alternative comedy
That's
show,
cool.
and I came up with all these different names because I thought they said come up with names. I was like comedy gumbo, and we called it the worst thing. We called it the comedy lab for a year. I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody. And
That sounds like you're tinkering. And you have
That's
clipboards
right.
and white coats. And,
you never
yeah.
know what kind of potion they're going to cook
It's
up.
like, oh, I could do a little dick joke here.
Yeah,
Maybe
sprinkle
a
up
pipette
topical.
of topical.
But now it's the alternative comedy show, and I've been hosting it for like I think 14 years. But this last year, oh my god, it was I had so much fun.
Nice. The reason I brought up TJ Miller is he recently came out on the show. He didn't come out.
I
but
happened
he
to
came
see
out.
that. You're,
Did
I
you
mean,
see
not
that?
like you're lucky. You're
Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah.
I saw that last night. I read it last night.
Yeah. It's weird. So apparently he was at the club live tweeting this happening, and then just went on and on and on. At I can't remember which club it was that he
It was the
at.
Laugh
Why don't we
Factory.
explain to the listeners what you're talking about?
You know how many terrible
getting
things
there.
he will. You know how many terrible You know how many terrible things have happened at the
See what I
Laugh
deal with?
Factory?
See what
That's
I
where
deal with?
Michael Richards went on his
Yes.
thing.
So far this place is doing great.
Yeah, please stay away
in
from
terms
it.
of-
Just,
yeah.
You know, people they go to the Laugh Factory and then they get upset at the crowds.
Right.
The Laugh Factory, it has the word factory in the name.
Yes.
Stay away from it.
It's the decor is really nice though.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
The
It's,
nachos are great. I hear nothing but good things about the nachos.
when I started out, that club was 1/4 of the size, and then what happened was Comic Strip Live was shot in that club, and then it does have that kind of Elvis feel to it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We've always decorated.
So shows going on. There's a headliner ready to come up. I think TJ was either on the show or watching the show that was going on. And who shows up? Dane Cook, who bumps the headliner, goes up and does 45
bumping the
minutes.
headliner is terrible.
Yeah.
When you bump people, unless you do it 10 minutes or
Yes,
5 minutes,
right? So normally you would just go up and do 5 and 10, let the
Yeah.
host kind of take the hit and bring down the crowd and then bring up the headliner. That's what should happen. 5-10 minutes tops. Dane does 45. And apparently is not a very funny 45. In fact, is a very misogynistic 45.
Well, I think
In
worse
fact-
than that, it's like the stuff that he's saying.
Chainsaw fucking's misogynistic?
Yes.
That-
was it
that
Chainsaw
one-
Fucking a Whore? Was that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classy.
Very.
If it had been misogynistic, that would have been a good compared to what happened.
Right, exactly. So this was misogyny is now misogyny light
Right.
compared to what was going. So TJ, hats off to him, starts live tweeting this and tweets.
Yeah, his
and
tweet
keeps
was
going,
really amazing
and he
he
kept
actually,
going. Yeah,
he was different from me in that the sense that I never was nothing Dane Cook ever did resonated with me. Although something funny actually happened recently. I came up with that joke that was in the Toronto Star. I wrote that article about myself, and the joke that I wrote was Dane Cook has a new font. It's called Sans Comic.
right. Yes,
And when I originally tweeted it, he tweeted back to me. He goes, "Oh, you're going to burn in Helvetica for that." So I thought that was pretty good.
That's fun.
That showed that he had
Look
a
at
sense
him.
of humor.
How long did it take him?
banter.
How long did it take him to pace across the room and come up with that? Like, no.
So I thought,
Ariel, no, that's not going to work.
But TJ,
Copperplate.
Copperplate. Yeah. He probably had a whole software
Yeah,
program.
exactly. What's gonna?
But then what happened was that but in this thing, so TJ was saying that he actually was I guess a fan. He was not a fan, but he said there was something to his early stuff,
Right.
And his Good Luck Chuck and stuff like. So it wasn't like TJ was someone who hated Dane to begin
Sure.
with, you know. So and then what were you going to say? What did you
Right.
say?
Well, no, it's just I found it interesting that like as we were talking about before, like comics kind of lashing out at each other. I found this one really good in that it's keeping comics honest. And so, like, if anyone else has sort of tweeted it as like, okay, yeah, it's a guy that just doesn't like Dane Cook, but no, like this is a real comic, a man among peers in that industry. This is relevant, and to see that happen. And the other thing that was kind of fun is that, a fan of Dane's tweeted him and said, "Oh, it was a great show." And then he replies like, "Yeah, I felt really connected with the audience." And like, apparently everyone was just hating it. So,
real. That's the thing
what I
that's
heard.
weird too. Yeah. I'm thinking about what was in Dane's mind.
Yeah.
The thing is that everything when you build everything that you've done on a house of cards and you, it's like I always use this example where Jim Carrey, Jim Carrey, believe me, I'm not a huge Jim Carrey fan, but I know that Jim Carrey is a talent, has talent. He's not Dane Cook, but he wrote a check to himself when he was a kid, like for $20 million.
Yeah.
And then he's put that away. And then one day he made $20 million when he made Ace Ventura or something.
Right.
To me, it's like, that's a weird goal to have.
Yeah.
It's like, I never as a kid I want to have some
$20 million?
Investment property and work for Bain Capital.
How's that yacht going?
Yeah. I need a yacht
like
and a thing. And look at it. It came true.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
Dane,
think with Jim, it was because his family was like homeless for a stretch, and he wanted to be able to take care of his family. I think that
I had to put the most negative spin on it possible. Don't please do not bring any facts into it that would turn it into a heartfelt, loving story.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry, I forgot where I was.
You're bringing
Yes.
down my negative buzz. No.
Ladies and gentlemen, due
No,
to illness, the roles normally played by Penn Jillette will be played by Andy Kindler. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
I'm glad you said that too, because I really but the point was, you're right. So maybe I
And
should
how
take
fucked
a,
up is it that I'm the positive one?
Let's take that anecdote out.
Right.
But the point was that Dane Cook's thing was he wanted to be, it's like he either wanted to be a star or he got to be a star before
Right.
he was ready to whatever.
Yeah, sure.
And now it's like, who knows what's going on with that guy? And but this sounded very ugly. To me.
It did, and it looks like at the time of writing there is no reply back from the Dane Cook camp yet.
Actually, no,
So-
he did
Did he
reply
come out?
on Laugh Spin.
Oh,
He had
okay.
Oh, what did he say?
Oh, fuck, I just read it like...
Folks, you
this
don't have to
morning.
read the laugh spins or anything. We're giving you all the different news writers that breaks. That's what we do here.
TJ was just paraphrasing the set.
Yes.
Yeah. I love, so Twitter's a weird thing for me, but I love the idea of picking like a specific event and live tweeting that.
Yeah.
And you do that all the time.
I do.
I love
I
your,
do like
you
this
do
is
the
thing-
Republican debates.
right? Because there's this tweet the press thing,
Yep,
and
yep.
I love that. But I don't have to. Sometimes I feel like, oh god, like I missed the Golden Globe
So did
thing.
I,
But he
yeah.
did a whole
I
bunch
didn't
of-
miss it, but I wasn't doing it live.
We did
Right.
a bunch of Ricky Gervais jokes afterwards.
Well, that's
Yes.
the thing too. That's a guy who, like, I was the biggest fan in the world of the old British, the old British.
Yeah, the old British office. Extras
nothing
as well.
funnier.
Yeah.
And some people say that his new show is very funny, but the fact that he thinks he's an accomplished, that I don't know, the ego to say, yeah, I'm a seasoned, accomplished stand-up, because he does. He thinks he's a seasoned, accomplished stand-up comic, and he thinks that people weren't, and his ego is so weird, and that he thinks that people weren't laughing sometimes. Like he's always like, oh, anybody who says I'm outrageous, don't advertise yourself as outrageous. But he's doing like Madonna, like a virgin jokes.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that was particularly
egregious.
Yeah.
Which I find interesting and sad at the same time, because if you look back at his other stand-up specials, like Animals, when that came out years ago,
right,
it was good and solid. Like,
yes.
It was like a really, really good show, and like, wow, he actually has stand-up chops. But then you see him in sort of this hosting role. It's like, maybe
well, even the more recent stand-up specials, I don't want to hear one more person. I mean, he obviously he hates people because of their weight, which I think is just kind of despicable. And he goes on and on about the worst article I think I've ever read in my life. Well, I'm guilty of hyperbole. In the more recent in Entertainment Weekly, this is before the Globes.
Okay,
he does a 2-page article with. There's not a joke within, and you know, if you're going to write an article in your comedian, try to make it funny.
Sure.
He dissects last year's Golden Globes and justifies it joke by joke. What is it?
Why?
And then he goes, I don't like to joke about things that people can't change about themselves. Now, some people say that's true with the obese, but that's their own fault. And it's like, he has so much hate and venom for people.
has he seen his waistline?
I know, but that's the thing. He has some kind of self-hatred thing.
Hot
but now
one
he thinks he's
kettle
all, well, no, he thinks he's all thin now.
Oh, of course.
It's just disgusting.
Yeah.
But you know what, people, I realized about people like him, because he was on Letterman a couple of days ago and he was very funny. I said, just don't. Some people just shouldn't do things like, don't do host things, don't do stand up, just do the brilliant. Well, what am I, the god now? Here's what you will do, Ricky Gervais.
I think you come down with tablets.
Ricky Gervais.
There you go.
But there's the thing too with him, right? With Chris Rock and Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and you see like that. It was like these other 3 guys completely in agreement about, you know, the concepts and ideas of comedy versus him, and they were just like, they thought he was on another planet. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Because you, that's the thing of the ego. It's like, how could you possibly be passing yourself off like that? I'm a stand-up.
Yeah.
No, you're not a stand-up.
Yeah.
We've come full circle.
Oh, beautiful. So all of this.
Yeah.
And here we go. This is the 4th credit right there. Your State of the Industry address that you do every year just for laughs.
Right.
I finally got to see it live this year.
Oh, cool.
It was fantastic.
Great
job.
I rember, I'm trying to think, it was fun this year. It was fun.
I was sitting in the back with Bamford and Jackie Cation. We're like sitting there just giggling ourselves off with every single, and it was like funny seeing how the industry people would laugh differently from the comics, who would laugh differently from the producers. It was just like the whole risk, but it's fantastic to watch. And to take people through what this is.
What it is for the uninitiated is that every year since 1995, I've been doing a State of the Industry address where I say what's like wrong with the comedy, and I don't, people say, you know, like there's some shows that I love. Like I love Portlandia and I love Modern Family, but I can't talk about what I love there. That's not as fun.
It's not funny.
I talk about what's terrible, and it's in it's like in a convention. Wherever the festival has had their hotel, it's always in a convention room of the hotel.
Right.
And the only thing that's changed is that in the first few years, it was really kind of exciting because a lot of the industry was there, and they all knew the industry's still there, but comedy was like so as a whole thing was so easy to make fun of back then. Now it's like there's so many different things to make fun of, and I noticed I listened back to the show. I don't usually listen back to it, and because I put some stuff on that last bit, I put excerpts.
Yep.
And during the speech, I felt like sometimes I feel like, oh my God, it's not working. It's just a weird thing. It's like I'm always overemphasizing how badly I'm doing. And then I listened back and it was good because I was like, oh, you know, okay, so it was just this works, that doesn't work, this works. There's a flow to it. I felt better about it.
And it was interesting seeing you take that, because you did throw some jokes in there that we saw the alternative night.
I always whatever is a joke.
You test it out in front and go, okay. Seinfeld is not laughing, but then we'll carry on. And no, it was great seeing that transition. You had just,
you mean Gary Shandling?
Right? Gary Shandling, that was it. Yeah.
I was like, what? Seinfeld?
Yes. I was picking a year that Seinfeld would have been there, but yeah, Gary Shandling was there. By the way, I've been going through on Netflix the Larry Sanders Show.
Yeah.
I finally came across your episode. It was hilarious.
Oh, that was
He just comes out. He does like a couple of lines. Sarah Silverman's on that show as well. Todd Barry.
I was so nervous.
Yes.
I was so
Were you?
nervous. Yeah, because I love that show. That show to me was so much like everything I love about the best kind of TV. And this happened to me so many times in my life. Rick Overton was supposed to do that part, but he was out of town, so I got the part because he was out of town. And then an earlier episode, because was friends with Judd Apatow since like we were on the Young Comedian Special on the mid-80s, and he worked on that show. earlier, a couple of years later, he said, you know how they do at the beginning? That's the Larry Sanders Show. Tonight, comedian Andy Kindler. And then I wasn't on the show because it was part of the thing where, and all like my parents, friends were like, I thought he was going to be on the show.
Right.
So I kind of had 2 appearances in that sense.
Right.
And then it was just nerve wracking because I just wanted to be so good and it's, hard.
But it's also cool, like when you're in a show like that, to be referred to in the third person the entire time, where you're just really
Andy
playing
Kindler.
yourself.
Why are you
It's like,
booking Andy
well, here
Kindler?
comes Andy Kindler. Here, why aren't you booking Andy Kindler? It's like, and then finally there's that, and your name's on the cue card, and it's being thrown around just like they would on a regular show.
That was exciting. And Bob Odenkirk I always love him. He's such a
he's
brilliant actor.
fantastic.
But he played Stevie. The agent. So good.
Yeah.
And I got to Aqua Janine, who I've been friends with forever, and I love her. And so that was like so much fun. I remember that day very clearly because I went to lunch with Janine and we walked around and Gary Shandling was great because he came up to me in between takes and he calmed me down. You know, I was like, just you know,
take it easy,
be yourself. And
you brought up Judd twice now, and I wanted to say, like, you know, obviously Judd's done very well. You know,
I think he's done okay, right?
Yeah, he's doing all right.
Yeah.
But the one time I saw
now he is not.
the one time I saw you have a little something over him was at your State of the Industry a couple of years ago. Judd was the Comedy Person of the Year,
right?
And you were in the same conference room at the festival, and your show, your State of the Industry was packed. The room was packed. And then Judd afterwards was getting the Comedy Person of the Year award, and there were half as many people there for that award that were there for your thing. And then he commented on it when the thing started.
And I stayed to watch it too.
Yeah.
You were there?
Yeah, it was very funny.
Yeah.
It was very funny. And he was like, you know, he thought it was very funny to be there and get the main award as the Comedy Person of the Year, and to have like sort of, because the industry all comes to see if, I think half of them are there to see if you're going to mention them. They're scared if they're going to get skewered or not, or they want to be able to be the first to hear that joke and tweet it out and say, "Oh, Andy made fun of this person," you know. Yeah. And so then a lot of those people are like they take off for the awards part or whatever. So then there was like sort of they had to add chairs for your thing and then take them away.
Right.
And Judd did his,
and the other thing is, the other thing was like they not in those days they had just started that Comedy of the Year thing. It's like they got more. It became more of a thing. Like for example, the thing that turned around they did. Lewis Black did the keynote speech last year. No, the year before.
Yeah.
And he was unbelievable because he talked about how that show, Harry's Law, was supposed to be his show.
Right.
This was before it came on the air.
Okay.
With Kathy Bates.
Yeah.
And then so that was hilarious, and that became a keynote speech. And then Mark Maron did last year, and he was brilliant. Yeah. So now I think that, and so I know obviously Louis C.K. he was, and also I think that was maybe right before people knew Judd's name by name.
Yeah.
Right. You think so? Maybe?
Yeah. Well, no, I think less people, I think now they combined the conference part of it with the festival part of it. And so now there are more people with badges that can actually come into the room. Whereas, for your thing, I think for the Judd thing, it was only one kind of pass you could go in to watch. And for your thing, it was the comic pass. Like the comics could go in and the pass holders.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So
They may have had to pay.
The actual number of people allowed to go in was a different amount too.
Well, this year was so funny because I think Louis C.K.
was Paul Feig this year too.
And he was at the speech.
Yes,
Paul Feig and
right.
the creator of Modern Family. What's his name? He was there.
Yes.
I got to meet him.
That fine fella.
It made me nervous.
Yeah?
Because those guys were there.
You get nervous in front of these people doing
this?
Well,
not so much with Paul, because I've known Paul since Paul's like one of the greatest guys.
Contemporaries, right?
Well, the other, I've always wanted to meet, and I always wanted to meet the guy, I can't remember his name right now, the creator of, someone call in, the creator of Modern Family.
Sure.
Right now. But Louis C.K.'s speech was before this, and so I did a sound check and I'm walking back to my room and it's like, the line just did not end for Louis C.K.'s award.
Yeah. It was a great day. Now, Ian, you wanted to, before we get into before we close this out, you want to talk about the film work?
Well, you were part of a film festival down in Los Angeles, earlier this month. I know you were doing a screening for an Albert Brooks film. I don't have my notes in front of me. It's down on my jacket, so I was hoping we should take a break.
Yeah, but you know what's very exciting is that it was called
Dick Van Allen.
It was called. Oh, that used to be your catchphrash, right?
That's his ringtone. Are you kidding me? Eat a dick, Van Allen. Oh, that's for me. There it is.
Cinefamily is an organization, like a film preservation organization. They show movies, and Wayne Fetterman came up with this idea for a comedy film festival, which was really a great idea. And he had 3 nights.
Yeah.
And Kevin Pollak
did one. And Margaret Cho did one.
Margaret Cho did one.
Doug Benson did
Doug Benson.
Cocktail.
Right, and so I presented my favorite movie of all time, which is Modern Romance, and I love the Woody Allen movies too. But this is a movie that's resonated with me, and we showed it in this theater, and it was so exciting. And I introduced the movie, and afterwards we did a question and answer. But what was really exciting was someone tweeted to me last night that I love those. Said, "Dear Albert Brooks, I love that movie, and I wish I'd seen it when Andy hosted it." And then Al Brooks tweeted to me, thanks for showing the movie.
He's become the Moby Dick
right
out there.
Yeah, did you see that?
I thought you guys were buddies. And,
I mean, that was like the dream come true for me because I have loved him since the 70s, since forever.
Him and Stephen Wright on Twitter are like the comedian's white whale right now.
Oh, wait a second. I didn't know Stephen Wright was on there.
Oh, yeah, he's on.
Oh,
Steve, I believe. Not Stephen. There's Stephen
Steve
Wright
Martin.
and Steve Martin.
Yeah, Steve Martin.
Steve Martin is, but I'm pretty sure Stephen Wright just came on in the last little while. But Steve Martin for sure is like you get a tweet from him.
Yeah,
and that's it. Who is?
I haven't gotten a tweet from him. Have you got a tweet from him?
I have certainly not. Jen Kirkman, I think, just got one last night
from Albert Brooks.
From Albert Brooks.
Yeah.
Because she had said like what I would have written in retort to.
She did write. She did write a thing.
Yeah, and then she got a retweet back from him.
Like a bloggy thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how the internet works. Is a thing.
Yeah,
you go to a different area.
There's pages to go to.
You know what I invented? I've been trying to get this joke to work for 6 months. Maybe it'll work in this format with people.
Let's workshop this.
Yeah, I'm an inventor, and I've just come up with a new invention. It's a URL lengthener.
Yes.
You ever wish that the link that you went to was longer?
Right.
Maybe provide all the information. So you don't have to go to the place.
The whole
URL
form.
lengthener.
Yes. Wikipedia.org.
I sit back satisfied. Yep, I nailed it.
That should be the album art photo.
I've seen you do that joke twice, and now 3 times.
Did?
Yes.
Where did you see that?
You did it at the alternative show.
URL.
I know that person.
Yeah, so
lengthener.
It's hot off the presses, Gary. Don't worry, I got all new material. Got my URL lengthener. What's up with
terrified.
Right.
What's up with this ISDN line?
What do you think about this? At the top of this, there's a Jerry Lewis movie poster here. And top it says, "The world's funniest funny man is back."
Right.
I still think the buck teeth was not the way to go.
No.
But is that too intense of a claim, or what?
The world's
word for the Rolling Stones.
Well, back in those days, I don't know. I missed the whole Jerry Lewis thing, but was that a great movie?
No.
Oh, but the one that was great was The Nutty Professor, right?
Because it's Jerry Lewis.
It's crazy.
The jerk. Yeah, it's crazy. He's got phones in multiple hands.
The Funny Professor was good, right? The original one.
Yeah, I think so.
Nutty Professor.
What did I say? The funny Professor. Don't rent that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he's just like a professor who tries to be funny.
You right then just sounded like my mom. Oh, what's that movie where the baby
that?
talks? See who's speaking? Yeah, that's it. See who's speaking. What's that movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger plays the robot? Oh yeah, I'm gonna kill you guy. Like
right, the Eliminator.
Yes.
Actually, the Eliminator would be too close to something that Mom would.
It would be. She just has no clue.
I play a thing with my mom. I go, Mom. I say, what is this? He's the leader of Iran. Mm-hmm. He's a vicious dictator.
Okay.
What is his name? And then I say it for her. Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Go. Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. The other game I play with my parents, which is the greatest game, I wish I could sell it, is how expired are your medications?
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh. We found things from 1993.
My parents keep the freezer as a time capsule for food. And it's just like we were going through. It's like, oh, we need some cheese. I go, oh, we've got some in the freezer. And I'm looking going, oh, this will be good. And I look at it and go, Mom, this survived the move into the house. It was 10 years old. And Mom, since you put this piece of cheese in the freezer, I've been married and divorced. We're throwing this out.
That's so funny because that's that movie, Al Brooks movie, Mother.
Yeah.
Where he goes to visit his mother and she has the cheese in the freezer that she wants to give him that she's had there for years and years and years.
I'm looking forward to getting to that golden age where everything just goes into the freezer and then I pull it out when company comes over.
You just made me depressed. The golden years.
The golden years.
Yeah.
That'll be it. Last question, because we got to wrap up. You got to get ready for your shows tonight.
Are you going to do the 5 questions for Bernard Pivot?
Only one?
You know what that is?
What?
You know, the actor studio guy.
Oh, yes.
He goes, I would like to, and he always says the same thing. Yes. I would like to know, Ashley, the 5 questions like from the Bernard Pivot.
Yeah.
What is your favorite curse word?
If you were,
Chowderhead. I think we established that.
Yeah.
what is the
You know what? You said golden years. Sorry, I was like
David Bowie, 65.
Golden Girls?
Harrison Ford is 69 years old. Can you believe
Get out
that?
of here.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
69.
I think of him as like he's still in his 50s.
So do I. It's
69.
because he was on Conan a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And if you find the clip, he seems like out of it, completely out of it.
Raider who can't find the Ark because he's so old. Am I wrong? Dementia jokes are hilarious.
But anyway.
Gary
so
was looking at me because he knew I wanted. I was like,
yeah, I'm like, go for it. I don't know what you're going to say. But
3/4 of the way through that movie. What were we looking for? I don't know. I want a sandwich. It's hot.
I can't believe that he's that old. He doesn't look it at all. Like, there are other guys, you know. We started, like, after that, we had to look it up. We were like, okay, Gene Hackman's 81. Okay. But,
Jesus
you know.
Christ.
Yeah, it's like these guys, they basically.
Okay. I think we can all agree Clint Eastwood looks Clint Eastwood's age.
Oh, yeah.
I think we can all agree on that.
He looks he looks 140.
Right. 30
yeah.
years.
It's
and
like,
Ron Paul looks his age. And Ron Paul
Yeah.
has a tiny little head. Tiny little head.
But
Yeah.
that's all of them. Jack Nicholson, Robert Duvall, you know, Morgan Freeman.
How old was
they're all-
Nicholson now?
Nicholson's actually less. He's like 75 or 77. I
Yeah.
thought he would be a little further than the others, but
No.
I think Morgan Freeman was also 81. And at the Golden Globes, he got his award from
Sidney Poitier.
who's got to be if Morgan Freeman's 81. Like,
right.
Yeah, he's got to be almost. Well, not 90 though, right? What am I? What are we? Are we
Sydney-
jacking up everybody's age?
I guess, yeah.
But yeah, that's what I was surprised.
Yeah.
They're all up there, and it's because when you think about the movies you like these guys in, like I mean,
Star Wars for me, original. Yeah.
of course, this stuff is 30 and 40 years old.
Yeah,
now.
when did Raiders come out? It was like 81 or something,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Justin Bieber is 29. It's like it's
I
going. These things
know.
are happening.
He's so great. Look at
These
him.
things
He
are
looks
happening
he looks
now.
so youthful. He looks so youthful. Question I'm going to ask you before we close out.
If I was a fish,
If you were a fish, what fish would you be? And no,
out of water.
out of water? What is the most Jewish fish?
Yeah,
Is it gefilte?
It's a
Gefilte? What are they?
it's a Goldenstein fish. Goldberg fish.
I loved how you dragged that in from the warning track. That was nice. Where are you finding your comedy right now?
I really hit that one to the warning track.
You did, actually. Where are you finding your comedy? Is there a particular movie, book, comic that you have seen recently, and you go, people need to know about this guy, this girl? What is it that you're finding your comedy? I'll give you mine right now. I'm in the middle of reading Jay Moore's Gasping for Airtime, which is his time on SNL. It's a little bit cock milky from time to time, but
It's a little bit. What's that word?
Cock milky, a little bit masturbatory. But for the most part,
That
it
does
gives you a
not make
sense.
me want cock or milk.
No. He's not describing him doing it. He's more just sort of self-aggrandizing. And
Right.
there's a little bit of navel gazing, but for the most part, it really describes what happens in a.
It's interesting to see that part, right?
Because
Yeah.
you're taking it from not just you're not taking it from the standpoint of like a Chris Rock. You're not taking it from a Chris Farley, who he in his esteem holds as like one of the best comedians of all time, one of the great comic minds. You're not taking it from that story. You're taking it from like one of the bit players, which I always find those stories like in an organization is always the best part. So you're getting a completely different perspective.
Yeah.
You had a Jay Moore impression earlier today.
Yeah, it's the last comic standing. Tonight, one comic will be eliminated. One comic will not be eliminated. You, America, will decide who will be the last comic standing.
Okay. I am going to take that snippet of voice and just play it before I read the book now and read every sentence from here on in that voice.
Tonight, the people who were not eliminated, you're going on to the next round. Those of you who have been eliminated, you will fly yourselves back to your own town on your own dime. Last comic standing. I would say that what's driving, the one thing I realize is that for me, I could never, even if I wanted to like get into one thing, I could never get into one thing. So it's always like evolving, it's like,
Right.
And so I think it just depends on what's really bothering me. So like, the last month or so, I was doing a lot of things about Whitney. That NBC had bought out the peripheral vision in my,
Right.
to advertise Whitney.
Yeah.
And they bought the lower part of my progressive lenses. So every time I read something, it says watch Whitney. So it just really, I mean, some of the stuff on NBC is, but it really is. So now it'll be the Republican thing. It's never. I have ADD, so it's never. I don't have a long narrative of what's bothering me,
Right.
Or story to tell, or anything that is catchy.
Right.
Does that answer your question or no?
No, I'm looking for like what
Is there a comic you've seen lately that's like, oh, people got to know about this person? Or,
in terms of being great.
in terms of being great, like what are the things that you're looking at? You go, Jesus, people got to know about this.
Oh, so why didn't you just stop me and go, Andy? That's
No, because I like seeing where you go with these things.
This is so weird. It's like, who I think is amazing? My mind goes blank whenever I think of like, who do I love? But like, I love Mulaney.
John Mulaney?
John Mulaney.
Who just dropped a new special this month, so...
Yeah, and
topical.
his thing on, he did a spot on, I think Conan, that was just so brilliant. I saw him do some of the stuff he did at the alternative show, where he does this whole bit about how, if he didn't have having a girlfriend is like having a lawyer, because if he on his own, he will get taken advantage of all the time. It's like he does his impression of himself. It's like, I go to the airplane counter and said, what time? I'm trying to find out what time my plane leaves. He goes, your plane has been canceled, and we don't care about you. And he spits in his face and goes, okay. Okay. And he goes through this whole long thing about, okay. So there's something, not something about, also, he writes such great stuff on Saturday Night Live. The stuff I've slammed about that show is comes back to Lorne Michaels.
Yep.
But they have so many great people, like Bill Hader is hilarious. Bill Hader does a thing that, on that show where he does the old newsman.
Right.
Who still wants to report, and he sticks the microphone in the people's faces. And so I can, to me, I feel like I can tell Mulaney's things on the show, and he's one of the guys I love.
Nice.
And you also mentioned Portlandia earlier that you're doing.
Oh, that's right. Portlandia. Thank you for reminding me. Portlandia would be like, say, my new thing that I just love.
Yep.
And when you think about that, I bought the Wild Flag album, and Carrie Brownstein, who's is a musician, but she's stars with him on the show. I could watch that show all day long, every day. Nice. It's just so amazing. And I still love Colbert. I mean, and I love Modern Family.
Yeah.
I think there's some great stuff on that. What else? Anything else?
I don't know. Gary, do you have anything? Or
No, it was interesting. You just mentioned Colbert, and I watched Colbert and Daily Show back to back. They played back to back at night, and I like Daily Show better, and my girlfriend likes Colbert Report better.
Yeah.
And I think it's also a comment on our sensibility as comedians, like, and what we like to play ourselves on stage. So it was interesting seeing the difference between those two things.
Yeah. I'm, like the Daily Show, there's always great stuff on it, but for me, Colbert is just his personality. It's something about it.
It's so biting. It's so irreverently real.
And he loves what he's doing.
Yeah.
Too.
You can see it. There's
in
a
all
smile
the
on the
best
face.
ways. In all the best
I
ways.
think, for me, I think it's the opposite of real. I think it's less grounded because I know he's playing a character.
But
You know what I mean? It's like I like both. I think there's great comedy in both. But I think when something ridiculous happens and Stewart can be himself, commenting on it as himself, it's like it's a grounded, real person commenting on it,
right.
and that really makes me laugh. Whereas like Colbert, I know it's tongue in cheek because he's saying the reverse of what he really thinks because he's this character, and it's like I get that, and I like the layers to that, but it's not coming from a genuine, real. He's not getting to say what he really thinks about it.
Well, he is in a way because he kind of like is, like you said, the opposite way. But I'll give you the opposite argument of that. The opposite argument would be that sometimes the Daily Show to me, well, first of all, a lot of times when they go to the field pieces, it just loses me. One thing I've never enjoyed about that show from the beginning is when they make people look bad.
Yeah.
Like I do field pieces for David Letterman. Plug. And I always like, I never feel comfortable like without people knowing that they're being made fun of. So whenever it goes to these field pieces, it just loses me. And then as funny as, and sometimes like, it is that zeitgeist thing where he's saying something and he's nailing people like nobody can nail them. But there is that kind of thing where it feels like Weekend Update to me sometimes. And so like that, I start to drift off on that one. Whereas Colbert, I think it's harder.
It's harder,
exactly
absolutely.
for what you're doing. And I think that was what I was amazed. I was worried that he wouldn't be able to pull it off.
Right.
Yeah. But he has such an amazing personality. And then a lot of times he'll just bring on interesting people.
Oh yeah,
and
his
then
guests are great,
and he won't even do the. Not that he won't do the character, but he asks them real questions.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
He's found a way to go not in and out of it, but to
Yeah.
deal with different. ways of it.
Yeah, exactly. And it is harder. I give it that. I mean, they're both great. I just thought it was interesting that they
Different
that they're-
perspective. You know what's amazing is that how much people like when I play a couple colleges, and anybody who's like young, they love this like the Daily Show and Colbert. Well, not Colbert so much about the ratings, but so many people watch that show. I mean, not just it's like almost like a cliche. Say they get their news there, but people do
It's fantastic.
check in.
All right, Andy.
Yeah, am I right about that?
You're right.
Yeah.
No, let's say that. Box tick. Correct. Thank you for showing up.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Pleasure to have you here in this city. Pleasure to have you around the corner doing shows.
I really appreciate you
fantastic.
having me on too.
So people, you know what to do. You go out. We're going to drop this today, the night of your 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, Sunday Night Live at Comedy Bar Sunday. And where can people find you online? It's andykindler.com if you want to figure out what happened in 2010 in your career.
Yeah, no, I actually have current day. One day is incorrect on there.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's just the wrong weekend. It's just the wrong weekend.
All right. And people can follow
Take
you on
that, Kirkland.
Yes.
Twitter at Andy Kindler.
All one word?
I think
No
so.
underscores, no nothing like that, none of that fancy Dan stuff?
No, it's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Andy Kindler, all one word.
And on Facebook, forget the Facebook.
Facebook. It's a dying industry.
Yeah, it's
they blew
over.
they blew their load with the movie. Yeah, the Winklebots were right, or whatever the hell their names are. Gary Rideout Jr., all one word on Twitter.
Yeah,
Personal.
it's me now.
And Comedy Bar, also on Twitter.
Yeah.
ComedyBar.ca is the website.
Yeah.
Go there. We just recorded last night the first live recording of this show. It was great. Thank you
Went
again.
amazingly well, yeah.
And we'll be doing it last Sunday of the month. Let's announce that right now. Last Sunday of the month. Looking forward to it. Going to be great. Next time you're in town, we hope to have you
I will
on
do it.
again. And Ian, you can be found at...
Atlas Chug,
Here we
Comedy
go.
Brawl, The Epic Nerd Show, Bedroom Antics, and EmpireComedyLive.com.
I like that Atlas Chugged.
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 Oh, Chugged. Okay,
Right,
yeah, I
right.
like that.
It's a good moniker for a
Yeah.
non-drinker. It's very fun. The
It's a
irony.
takeoff on a very famous novel.
Yes.
Yes,
I'm
and
just
that
kidding.
novel...
I'm like the world's stupidest.
And that
man.
novel is Lord of the Rings. Ladies and gentlemen.
You did a twisty.
Hey!
He went left, I went right. We ended up somewhere else. Who will decide? You will decide. Tonight, 3 comics will be eliminated. 2 comics will be in purgatory. 1 comic will quit the business. We will find out who will be the last comic today.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Ian, Gary, and Jay Moore, where do you find your comedy? It was Andy Kindler. Where do you find your comedy? Above the Pub.
Lately, I find I rush